Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Khan Show on a Saturday night near a YouTube channel near you. Hope you're all well, safe, and healthy. Hope you guys have all enjoyed the first day. Well, I guess it was yesterday, Steve, wasn't it? Of course, I've got the wonderful Steve joining me. I guess yesterday was Premier League officially back, but sort of quite a lot of the games today, right? So we count today as a real first day back.
Saturday afternoon in the sun, first day, in August. It's what we all typify the start of the season with. The Friday night thing was for TV. It's not for me the start of the season. It's when all the big boys come out to play. I know there's some tomorrow, but there's that's it for me. Saturday, the first game, following on from the Charity Shield. Away we go. Football in the sun. All the new teams going nuts. All the new teams fans going nuts, mate. It's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely is, mate. Of course it is. It's brilliant. The excitement, the new players, the sunshine. Let's see how long this lasts. All the good mood from all other clubs and clubs that were expected to do well, not getting off to the best start. It's mad. The amount of overreactions, and before Liverpool fans get onto me, I don't mean specifically Liverpool. I'm just talking about fans in general of all clubs. The amount of overreactions you get in game week one, just it's laughable now, isn't it? And I'm not talking about Liverpool. We'll get on to Liverpool if people want to talk about Liverpool. First and foremost, remember, this is the Premier League calling show. In fact, it's the football calling show. You can talk about anything football related. So it's not specific to Liverpool. But so before people say, oh, we've got every right to be reactive today, I'm talking about just general fans. First game week, so many reactions, whether it's Chelsea or whether it's Spurs going overboard, or Arsenal, as the case was yesterday, or you can have other clubs going really the other side of proceedings. So sort of thinking, call it in after the first game week, call it in. We've got no chance. It's pretty nuts, isn't it?
Oh, it's meltdown city already. Seriously, there's some people out there that if they feel the need to vent their spleen, everything else as far down as their ankles on social media, because they just lost the first game of the season, and they want to have a total meltdown and tearing on each other, same fans of the same fan base. Seriously, you have to wonder whether football's for you, because there's 38 games to go. Everton were booed off at half-time in the first game of the season. What is that all about? It takes time. These guys are not up to match fitness. Doesn't matter what you do in pre-season. Doesn't matter what you do in your training drills. That's the real thing when you get out there and you play against live, hard, fast and furious opposition. I know we said it's not specifically a Liverpool show. Take Fulham today. First day back in the Premier League. First game of the season at home, and it's Liverpool. That's the biggest game of their season done and dusted today. That will be the biggest fixture that Fulham play today in terms of everybody. So damn right they're going to turn up. Every right to turn up today. There's a bit of a party atmosphere down there. It's a free hit. Doesn't matter. They're not expected to get anything, so they can go out there and relax and enjoy themselves. And we'll see that before the end of the season, Grizz. Before the end of the weekend, even there will be another team that people fancy to do something that doesn't quite get it over the line. But it's not cause to turn on each other. It's not cause to turn Twitter, which is at the best of times not the most pleasant of places, into a cesspit of nastiness. It's not needed, is it?
It's not needed at all. But unfortunately, it just goes to show you the level of society at the moment currently. Unfortunately, as a case may be, there is zero respect.
Yeah.
When you're on a platform like that, say what you want, call out who you want, how you want. You're gonna at max you're gonna lose your account. You just make another one up, and that's it. Nothing else can happen to you really. So yeah, I've just brought up a caption there of results today and things that people want to talk about. Not that you'll have an idea. Sorry, not that you need any ideas, because obviously any caller that comes on will know what they want to talk about, but we can talk about the Chelsea win at Everton. You got the Spurs playing brilliant start against Southampton, who are a lot of people's tips to go down. As it says there, Salah rescues Liverpool as Mitrovic shines in an entertaining draw. It's pretty well summed up there. Newcastle. I don't know if they count as a dark horse, but yeah, doing well there. A nice straightforward victory, I'd say, against newly promoted Forest, and of course apart from Liverpool's result, Bournemouth. Wow, the big result of the day.
Wow,
The much fancied, or I don't know what I mean by fancied. Maybe much expectations from the Villa fan base with regards to the investment and Stevie G, etc., etc. Bournemouth. Now, what we mean by a Salah rescue was the goal and an assist. Of course, it was a tap-in, but he got an assist as well. And it was a rescue job because, in my opinion, Fulham were very good value for their win. So it was a rescue. Let's get to some comments before we get to the callers. People, don't forget, new callers will be given priority. Club channel members will be given priority, but you're all very welcome to call in, try in, and we'll get as many as we can throughout the day. Captain Sal, channel member, says, let this draw shock Klopp into changing his thinking. What do you mean by that, Captain? Thinking, do you mean like selection-wise, tactically wise, personnel-wise? What do you mean by that? His targets won't have changed. His ambition won't have changed. Let us know what you think. What do you think he means by that, Steve?
Probably tactics and selection. I think today there are some questions. Certainly there are. I think today we've had something that we were scared of come home to roost in the Thiago injury, which is a concern because as good a footballer he is, and I love him to bits, there's a question mark over whether you can rely on his availability. Missed the League Cup final in the last minute because he was injured. Probably shouldn't have played the Champions League final because he was injured. He's had a full pre-season, and the first time we do it for real, he's got a serious hamstring injury. So I understand the comment in the context it comes across in. There are some thoughts and some decisions and some considerations that might need to be made. But it's not time to panic. But Klopp has come out and said, sometimes I hug the boys, sometimes I don't deserve to hug the boys. We better not do that again. So this place, with all of the platforms at the moment, are flooded with people voicing their displeasure. Well, the boss shares your feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had some wild shouts everywhere, all over the social media. Sophia, we've got, I'd say, one of the wild ones of tonight. So I like addressing all opinions. Let's try to make sense and address this one. Is it fair Henderson is like Tyrone Mings? Part of our success, a good leader and voice, but when all is said and then done, I think he means he doesn't have the quality needed to be a regular starter in our team. The only part I agree with is probably the last sentence in terms of, no, I don't even agree with the quality. I don't think he should be a regular starter in our team. That's the only, and I agree he's a good leader and a voice. I think the comparison to Tyrone Mings is very disrespectful. I'm just going to give my opinion, then Steve can give his. And Siddy, I've given your comment. I brought it up, so you can't say, I'm not bringing up anything that I don't agree with. I think it's a shocking comparison, absolute shocking comparison. Tyrone Mings, who's one fuck all, part of an awful Villa side, Mr. Calamity. I mean, it's just, I don't know whether you've got short memories. Are you a Liverpool fan, first and foremost? Oh, you said our team, so I'm assuming you are. If you're a Liverpool fan and you're comparing Jordan Henderson, who's won every single trophy, lifted every single trophy there is possible at club level, under a coach that trusts him and has played him in all the big games, in many a big game, to Tyrone Mings, then I can't agree with that, mate. I do agree he shouldn't be a regular starter, automatic starter. I do agree It should be a matter of who's playing well, game by game, opposition, and all of that business. I agree with that, but I wouldn't agree with anything else there. Steve?
Yeah, it is an unfair comparison. Look, Henderson's 3 inches away from being everybody's hero with that whipped curling shot to come back off the bar. Football is about small margins. If that goes in, then the fume towards him is not there. Or if it is, it's tempered. It's played down a bit because he didn't have a great game. But then you tell me somebody who did. You know, that's the way I have to look at that. Nunes aside, who came on and made a difference. I don't think there's too many players in the squad that come out of that game with too much credibility. I don't think there's too many positives you can take from today. So to single out Henderson is a little unfair because we took Fabinho off to bring on Milner to play in a 6, which in itself was a risk. But it tells you that guy wasn't at the races. Thiago came off with an injury, didn't have the best of games. So the midfield unit today wasn't as effective as it normally is. I get the idea that people think Henderson's come into a stage in his career now where he should play less, and maybe that's what we'll see. But today there were a number of things that weren't right, and I think it's wrong to put that totally on Henderson's toes. As I say, come on the chat and tell us who you think came out of there, Darwin Núñez aside, because of his impact. You tell me who comes out of that game with massive amounts of credibility. Attitude, as Klopp said, was all wrong. And when you go into a game like that and your attitude's wrong, it's next to impossible to change that in real time during a game. You kind of go in there with a psychology that says, we're going to smash this, or we're a bit complacent and we think we've got this, just need to turn up because it's Fulham. And we have done that from time to time. And I think that's what Klopp's alluding to when he talks about the attitude of the players. But to totally say it's Henderson is a bit of a miss for me. I don't think he plays 50 games a season anymore. I agree. There'll be times when to leave him out, and there'll be times to play him. He's not the Henderson of 3 or 4 years ago. He's approaching, he's 32 next birthday, and 18 months ago he had a horrendous injury. So, yeah, it's not right to sort of compare him to Tyrone Mings. It really isn't. But he's not absolved of any responsibility for today's performance. They're all included in that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a super chat as well, and it's pretty much what we were talking about. But obviously, sometimes the timing of the super chat doesn't match what we're talking about. So we pretty much answered this. Appreciate the support. He says Ahmed Ali says, is Hendo good enough to start and maybe new midfielder? Yeah, Hendo's good enough to start. I just don't think he should be an automatic start. There's a difference. I wouldn't say Hendo's, for me, wouldn't be one of the nailed-on first names on the sheet. Now, whether that's Klopp's thinking, nothing we can do about it if that's Klopp's thinking. But in my opinion, just my opinion, who's absolutely a nobody. I'm a nobody. I'm just like you guys. We're nobodies in the grand scheme of things. We're just fans. We're just supporters. We just like watching Liverpool play, whether we can watch it on the TV or whether we can listen to it on the radio, whether we can go to the game. And that's all we can do, support. And then obviously criticize or praise wherever it's needed. If it's praise needed, then we praise them. If it's criticism needed, not needed, but whatever the situation, requires. And today requires criticism. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But yeah, I would 100% be saying it all summer. I personally would love a new player, someone with a lot of legs and energy, box to box. I've said it many a times. But at the end of the day, as I keep saying, the grand scheme of things, we're nobodies. Well, I speak for myself, I'm a nobody. We can just give our opinions, keep discussing it logically, rationally, respectfully. That's it. That's all we can do. There was a good question in there. There was a good thing in there. I wanted to ask your opinion on it. So we know about a season and a half ago, was it, Steve? Remind me, when Henderson went up to Klopp, because Klopp said it himself, and suggested, was it 2 seasons ago possibly? Yeah, I think it was 2 seasons ago, where he suggested that Henderson came up to him and said, give me a chance to play in the, I'm not finished yet. I know you like me in the number 6, but give me a chance as the 8. I can do this. Yeah, that needs a revisit, in my opinion, again. Just opinions. I think that needs a revisit. I think we've now got a young little gem in there called Harvey Elliott. And possibly, when he's fucking fit and available, Naby Keita, who in my opinion are possibly more suited to play that 8 role in this version of Klopp and Liverpool. We will discuss this in more depth tomorrow, people. Tomorrow's RedFellas is a show not to be missed. It's not going to be player ratings and bits of chat here and there. It's going to be the big boys. The RedFellas are in town tomorrow. We've got a full house tomorrow, and we will attack all the complex talking points in depth. But just, if it's possible, just a quick opinion on that for now, Steve.
Yeah, I think there's some validity in that comment. Horses for courses is a phrase we use all of the time. And there will be games when Henderson can play in the 8. And there will be games when Henderson can come on and play in the 8, depending on how the game's shaped and the score when he makes it onto the pitch. But the introduction of Harvey Elliott 2 weeks in a row has seen the floodgates open and we score goals. So we scored 4 goals while he's been on the pitch. We've struggled when he hasn't. I think there's time to have a look at how the midfield operates, and is it again, we'll get into this more detail tomorrow. Was it too passive to start with today? I thought Fulham bossed it, and that's supposed to be a robust, resilient midfield. And they're the 3 guys that roll up the sleeves and go to war when we need them to. And it didn't really happen today. So are we better looking at a midfield playing on the front foot as opposed to being the resilient, doubtful trio that don't let you down? Because don't let you down doesn't win you football matches, and that didn't happen today. So I think you're right. I think it needs revisiting. I don't see Henderson as an 8 all season. I see him as a share the 6 with Fabinho. Sometimes play as an 8 and sometimes come off the bench to be an 8 or be a 6. But there are the questions I said before that need to be answered, and there are things that need to be looked at by the football club. Would be that first half performance across the midfield today. And that would include Henderson.
A couple of super chats to get through before we bring on the first caller. Selection sends in a super chat. Selection's been very active today with me. As we know, Selection is not a huge fan of Henderson. I think everyone on Grizz Khan TV knows this by now. He says, why is the first thing in the final third to either hoof the ball or first time back post? He actually nearly scored a lovely match-winning goal in the last minute with the first time shot. They hit the crossbar. I wonder if your comment would have changed then, Selection. Love Klopp like a brother, but he needs to tell Hendo no right centre midfield. Let's see if Klopp listens to you, Selection, or shares the same opinion to you. I actually agree he shouldn't be a regular starter as an 8, but there's most certainly times there he can do a job there. Pixelated Pigeon, massive contributor to the channel. Shamox and Naby haven't grown into starters. Couldn't agree more. Do we have too many pre-20 and post-30 players who need to be carefully managed for different reasons? I think this is spot on, Pixelated Pigeon. I've been saying and speaking on this myself. I share this opinion. I totally agree with this opinion. I think we need to find not 1, but 2 midfielders in that age bracket from 23 to 28, let's say. Young, mobile, reliable, durable, and of course, they will be talented because we will have scouted them. But the other factors that I've mentioned, the durable, the reliable, I most certainly think they will be needed now. If you're going to ask me for names and all that, we could be all night. And that's for another topic and a debate for another show. But on the whole, I very much agree with that super chat. Appreciate the support. Let's bring on the first caller. Let's bring on the first caller. Let's see what they want to speak about. Ahmed Khatib is a first-time caller to the channel, I believe. Ahmed, you're very welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, Grizz. I'm good. Hi, guys. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Tell us where you're calling from and what would you like to speak about, my brother?
So basically, I'm calling all the way from Mumbai, in India,
Amazing.
and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Henceforth, all the issues. But basically, I saw the entire game, and I'm not a Liverpool fan. I need to
Mhm.
be. I'm a Chelsea fan, and I saw the entire Liverpool versus Fulham game. And the only thing I would say here is a matter of fact that your midfield is really bad at this moment.
Mhm.
And it's when I was looking, it's not the same midfield which you had Genie and all. It's completely different now, and with Henderson also aging, the I feel in today's game simply it was targeted, and the target was basically Trent. And now with Henderson on that side itself as RCM, they had targeted completely in terms of they knew that the moment Trent goes forward, they can exploit that. And that was the main weapon which they were utilizing it. In the very first goal also, I don't understand how could Trent miss that. Means he should have been doing better. But yes, one can say Mitrovic is pretty good in the air.
Okay, Steve, do you want to take that first or do you want
Yeah,
me to?
sure. Thanks for joining us from Mumbai as well. That's amazing. That's quite humbling that people tune in from that far out and take the time to call in. So thank you. Looking at that, I've tweeted about it this evening. Number nines have been targeting fullbacks since football started. So what we shouldn't do is jump that onto the back of. And I'm not suggesting for one moment you do, but any general media agenda against the fact that Trent Alexander can't defend. If I'm being honest with you, when you go back to training tomorrow as a football club and you look at that goal, first thing you do is cut out the cross, and the second thing you do as a keeper is you come and win that ball. It shouldn't get to your back stick. So, and I'm not very often critical of Alisson because I think he's an amazing goalkeeper, but he can do better there. And I think if we put Trent in the position where he's left alone with a marauder in number 9 that is a physical presence. Listen, Duncan Ferguson, who played for Everton, dined out on fullbacks for 10 years as a target man, a big number 9. And we've seen that right throughout the ages of football. Any big number 9 you can speak of always would have targeted the little guy that can't get up. If you're looking at that goal, he was always favourite to get to that ball first.
I
Always
agree with
favourite.
all of that. But to be honest, I think the only thing which I was not happy in that part was not the defending, but was the unexpectancy. Because it felt like Trent was not expecting anyone to reach this. And by the time he was onto the header, Mitrovic was already onto him. Means he was climbing, he was jumping higher, he
I
was
agree.
over Trent. That's the only thing which is for me. Yes, you shouldn't be you can be in an unexpected scenario at that moment of time. But overall what I mean here is the fact that he should be ready for any kind of scenario, which he wasn't, because completely imbalanced. If you're taking a header, you need to be ready, you need to be in that position to make sure that you are able to clear it anywhere. Means he could have hit it for the corner also, out for a corner, but he was
I
completely
agree.
imbalanced, which allowed.
I agree. If you watch the goal back, Mitrovic is up early and he's pushing down on
Exactly,
Trent.
exactly.
What
And
needs to
that is
happen?
what created the unexpected scenario for even for Allison, because Allison was not expecting the goal to come in from that acute angle.
I
Can
would
I?
sorry, Grizz, I would slightly disagree there that when Alisson is facing where the ball's coming from and Trent is facing Alisson, it's Alisson's job to tell Trent where the danger is. So I don't think the communication in that situation is brilliant. But I also don't think Trent had a chance of beating Mitrovic to that ball, whether he sees him coming or not, because that is not his game. It's not Reece James's game either. But we don't, he gets caught out from time to time because he's a progressive fullback as opposed to a defensive fullback. When Klopp sits down with Trent at the start of the season and gives him his targets are for his creativity and his assists, not as an out and out defender. You can't be one of the best attacking right backs in the world and be one of the best defensive right backs in the world. There's a trade-off somewhere that has to happen for that scenario to work. So I'm looking at goal today, and it's very easy to say, look, son, you weren't prepared for the challenge from Mitrovic. You've got to be bigger, you've got to be stronger. But then you've got to say, how does that ball come into the box from so far out wide? Why is that not stopped? Why is the goalkeeper not telling Henderson where the danger is? Maybe he did. Maybe it was too late. And then more to the point, why is he not coming out and taking that ball and both Trent and Mitrovic with him? Because Alisson's a big guy and he stays at home. And I wanted to see, after looking at it back, he should have just come and cleaned up. He could have punched it. He could have come out and punched it.
Yeah, that could be one point. Yes.
Can I share an opinion and give an? I mean, I know it's not about my opinion on today's shows. Today is all about you guys. But it's interesting. You started off by saying you're really worried about this Liverpool midfield. You think it's. What did you remind me of what you said at the first bit? So the Trent, I pretty much agree with what you're saying. He was predominantly the one at fault for the goal. So we clear that out of the way. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Predominantly, he was at fault if anyone is to blame, because sometimes you've got to praise the attacker for the way he attacks the ball. If you're physically bigger than someone and you attack it, it's very difficult. But if there is a blame, and there's usually some blames attached to a goal, it's Trent's.
Mostly it's about the positioning of that goal.
No, I agree with you. At least make it difficult for him. So we get that. So exactly. We agree with that. We get that out of the way. With regards to the midfield, you said even though you're a Chelsea fan, which is honest of you at least, you're worried about the Liverpool midfield. Now, if very much like it could have happened, and it's not a big if. People keep saying, oh, ifs and buts, like it's nothing. No, it's a matter of fact that we lost the Premier League by 1 point in the last 15 minutes. We lost out to one of the greatest club sides, probably the greatest club side of all time in Real Madrid, the greatest club in the world. And we lost out because of their goalkeeper being man of the match. I don't know if you watched the final, if you remember.
Yeah.
If we had won those tournaments and won all 4 trophies and played every single game that we were entered in, would you have been sat here 6 weeks later saying our team, our midfield is, I don't want to paraphrase what you said, but not good enough?
On the basis, I'm talking about on the basis of your team sheet today. If you take, let's take it into the basis of the fact that
so today,
the amount of legwork. Let's take it legwork.
But today, you didn't say that. Today, we were shit.
Yeah.
Today, to a man, we were crap. Not just one person, but 9 and possibly 10 out of outfield players were crap. If you're speaking on our midfield about today, then my God, you are spot on. My argument, my counterpoint against your opening statement was you worry about our midfield. Overall, I thought you meant. And that's why I wanted to ask you, would your mind been different or view been different 4 or 5 weeks ago if we had won even one of those trophies, and then that would have been 3 trophies out of the 4 we've won? Would you still worried about our midfield? And why?
I wouldn't worry about the midfield on that time because somewhere around you have those runners in. It means you have Mo Salah who can come behind, collect the ball. You had Mane at that time. But now, at this present moment, when I see you, yes, you have Diaz, you have Nunez, Firmino, Salah, all these 4 people are there. Jota is there. He's injured at this present moment, but all of those things are there. But what I see at this moment is the fact that somewhere around you lack energy. Henderson is not the same guy. He's aging. We all know that. We have Silva, the oldest player in the Premier League. But overall, if you want to play the high rising style in terms of you have Trent Alexander-Arnold rushing forward and helping out in the forward section and putting those crosses in, you need somebody with those legs who can cover that area. And Henderson won't be able to do that, which was exploited today, which we saw it today. In today's match, that is what I saw, and I was like, Liverpool are being too open. Yes, if you have Khanage at the back, he could do that part in terms of sweeping the area of Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, but Matip cannot do both sides. He can do it to a certain aspect, but if you keep doing it over a period of 90 minutes, it's a completely different story, and which was the case in today's game. And I was like really surprised. Like, yes, Henderson normally, if you are seeing him, if we normally see him, let's take an example. If one of the finals versus Chelsea, he was playing as a defensive midfielder because Fabinho was injured, which he did a very great job. But you are telling him to play as a center midfielder, rush from box to box. It is not easy for him. That's what I saw today.
No. If you're basing it on today, I absolutely agree with you. People in the chat saying, Grizz, come on, stop top red talk. Our midfield needs changing. Fab has been declining as well. If you saw the rating show that I've done just about a couple of hours ago, you have noticed or seen that I didn't give a midfielder above 4 out of 10. In fact, I gave 3 or 4 out of 10 to all of them. That's how poor I thought they were. So again, and in my chat, on my channel, I'm not going to have this top red narrative being thrown about. If anybody continues to shout out top reds and bottom reds and all this crap, I'm probably going to block you, because that's like for other channels and shit, you know, kids basically. If you're grown up and you're going to be throwing top red shouts, I'm not having it on this channel. Call me a narcissist, call me a dictator, call me what you want. But I'd like to have more rational, logical conversations than top red talks. But yeah, look, Ahmed, your points about today's performance are pretty much spot on. I agree with you. The energy, the legs to cover, I agree with you, weren't there.
Because in the previous games also, we saw Mane doing that part, and he was helping out, which helped the midfield a lot. And now you don't have Mane, and I was like, Mane going, yes, Diaz is there, you have all those things. But somewhere around, I was thinking that you have Mr. Frick. And today was the part, means I could be completely wrong, and Nunes could score 20 goals in this season. Very good for you. But somewhere around, you need those legs to help you out from the defensive aspect as well. And that will be, I feel, a huge difference, unless we see Diaz putting the same shift, which I don't see it happen.
Fair enough. Ahmed, before we let you go, we've got quite a full studio now. Everybody's wanted to come in. So much to talk about this weekend. Let's have a prediction of where you think, A, your club will finish, and B, where you think Liverpool will finish.
I just now finished watching Chelsea's game. To be honest, there's quite a lot of work to be done. Basically, I see us in a top 4, but anything over, if we get, let's say, if you even get in the second place, if that was a big F, like I'm just saying, mostly I see a 80% chance of us being 3rd or 4th. But if we get into the second place, that would be a very good, alongside of silverware as well. But on the basis of today's performance at Everton and the amount of injuries cramping up, and obviously the stop-start nature of the game did not help a lot, because the physical aspect, it took quite a toll on the players as well. I would say that, yes, I feel that we are doing a good job, and we will improve with time. There will be a sync between the players. We'll have a better time in terms of forward aspect as well. And defensively, I feel that we are much more sound. And I think the best thing was the one in regards to the all over is the fact that Aspi getting a new contract. That will be a game changer. Because today we saw itself, he played at right centre back. Koulibaly got injured. He went to the left centre back. He was rushing forward as right wing back. So his multi-purpose game is going to help us quite a bit.
Oh, fair enough. So you've got your team finishing the top 4, which I think, again, with the acquisitions that you're looking to make and that you've made, I think is very possible. I think it's going to be very close. Where do you think Liverpool will finish?
Top 2 is for sure for me. I feel you should be finishing. But somewhere around, I do feel that there is quite a chance after today's game, watching just today's game, on the basis of your midfield and the amount of legwork, I would suggest, my thought of process here is the fact that you should be getting another midfielder or 2. Because somewhere around you're going to need it, especially with the amount of work rate on Henderson and Milner. You can't be expecting them to do that much amount of legwork. And with injuries also, there's a huge chance.
let's just assume we're not going to get. I want to get an opinion of yours. Oh, hold on. Let me just put you on mute while I get your answer. Just so imagine we don't get anyone. I'm telling you now. Let's say we don't get anyone. Where is Liverpool going to finish? Because this will be interesting. Then we can come and talk again very soon.
I'm going to go with second.
Oh, you're going to stick to second. Oh, I thought you were going to be brave and say third. Oh, you didn't be brave. You didn't be brave. You started off very brave by saying Liverpool. You're worried about them. Then you be brave and say.
I could change my opinion on the end of the transfer window. It depends what Chelsea do from here. If we get Fofana, it's high possible.
Nice one, Ahmed. It's been so nice speaking to you. Have a great day, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care now.
Look after yourself.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. I've got to announce a new member of the channel. Big up Mr. Zuberi, who is in the studio. I can see him. He's due to come on, but there's a few people before him. Chris is the next caller we're going to let on. It's amazing. Our midfield's finished and everything. And then I said, where are we going to finish? Second. You know, I thought he's going to be a bit more braver and say, you're going to drop out now because your midfield's finished. Chris, let's get Chris. Chris, you're very welcome to the stream, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. Not too bad. Not too amazing.
We've been better.
But no. It's not the worst day in our lives. How are you? Where are you calling from, and what would you like to speak about?
Yeah, it's boring. England, London.
Lovely, amazing. Yeah. Nothing boring about England and London, my man. Whereabouts? Yeah, which part of London?
East London, Ilford.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Around the corner from where I grew up. Yeah. Walthamstow. Nice. Leighton, Walthamstow.
Yeah.
There you go. Amazing. What would you like to speak about?
Not gonna lie, I was fuming after that game. I was livid.
Talk your talk.
I was just upset because this is the first game of the season. Fulham versus Liverpool. We all knew what was going to happen. It always happens with newly promoted teams. We learned this when Leeds came up. They always want to make a statement against Liverpool because it's a free hit for them. It's a free hit for them. They would have always come into this game, especially in front of their fans, wanting to make a statement to the entire Premier League that they're here to stay. And to me, we just weren't up for it. We weren't up for it from the minute 1 to minute 90. To me, we didn't actually get into that game until the 30th minute. And to me, that wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I feel like the defenders not good enough, especially Matip. A few loose passes. He does that a lot sometimes, and it infuriates me. The midfield, I feel like we need to contextualize when people say the midfield is not good enough. Because if you're saying the midfield is not good enough for top 4, that's going too far. If you're saying the midfield not good enough for third place, even I think that's going too far. I think we're still solid for second place. I think the midfield is good enough for second place. However, I do feel like the balance is a bit off in that midfield with Henderson. I feel like Henderson as the 6, I said this last season, I feel like he's better as the 6 now than the 8. I feel like he's not the same energetic Henderson he was in the 1920 season. I thought that, me personally, that was his best season because he was about to get around the pitch. And Klopp kind of wants him to do a more advanced role where he's involved in the attack a bit more, trying to score and create more. And I just don't think he's got the ability anymore to the highest level to do that consistently. And I feel like that's the reason why we need the midfielder in the midfield. I think we need a midfielder to bring in the midfielder. The attack, I just think the attack couldn't come into the game because we just weren't bringing the ball forward. I feel like Fulham were pressing out of their minds to make sure that we couldn't do any decent attack, and we end up resorting to hoofballs like we usually do. I feel like this game today, we shouldn't have needed the wake-up call, actually. I was actually going to say we needed the wake-up call, but we didn't need a wake-up call because this is the first game of the season. We just lost to Manchester City by 1 point. This had to be a statement from us, and I feel like we came into this game complacent. So, yeah, no, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. I feel like we will improve, but the underlying issues behind that midfield makes me worried. I can't lie to myself. It makes me feel very afraid because the people that we know are going to get injured are going to always get injured. I'm sorry. Thiago, I didn't expect it in the first game. I'm sorry. I didn't expect him to get injured in the first game. We knew it was going to come. The guy's never been fit for his entire career. So if we're looking at statistics, how likely it is for him to get injured, he was always going to get injured this season. Naby Keita, I heard he's got an illness. He's going to be back in training soon. So that's a good thing. I think he's the only adequate replacement for Thiago in that left-sided midfield. So that's good. However, he's injury prone. I feel like Carvalho, great. Elliott, great. But they're too young to put this burden on them to be consistent starters in this midfield. So at the end of the day, I still feel like Klopp will rely on his go-to players that have led him this way. Like a Firmino, which I think played poor today, like a Henderson, which I think played poor today. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be not his downfall, because there's no downfall. He's going to we're going to have a successful season, but I feel like that's going to elude him to the title again, because I feel like there's not been enough change, in my opinion, for us to really we're Liverpool fans. We're always going to believe that we have a chance to win the league, but I just feel like compared to last season, we haven't necessarily improved significantly. I can't really distinguish that difference, in my opinion. So I'm talking a lot. What do you guys think?
No, you're allowed to talk a lot. This is your show. This is for you to talk a lot. I love it. And I find myself agreeing with a lot that you said. You made some very, very good points. Steve?
You made a lot of points, and I would agree with some of them. Yeah, totally. I think I'll deal with the change points in my response. I've been watching Liverpool for longer than I care to remember. I've been watching football for longer than I care to remember. Wholesale changes don't guarantee your success.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You look at the Liverpool team of the 80s, it was the same names. Back in the day when we had one substitute, I can remember a statement that an ex-Liverpool player made where Bill Shankly used to say, the squad for today is the same as last year. Now, that would be because they only had one substitute, so that changed everything. We've got 5 now, as we know. Take the Champions League final, for instance. Liverpool were favourites to win that Champions League final because the footballing world decided Real Madrid had an aging side, an aging midfield, and it needed freshening up, and it didn't have the minerals to deliver the result. Yeah. That's the same Real Madrid side that's playing this weekend, because when you've got quality and we didn't play well today, it's important to say that. When you've got big games with those 3 play out their skin, and we're all sat here going, wow, weren't we brilliant in midfield today? We dominated them. We don't need to go and change the whole midfield off the back of what happened last season. As Grizz has already said today on the call-in, we came within 180 minutes of doing something that beggars belief. It's never been done before, and there's a reason why it's never been done before, because it's nigh on impossible. What you don't do is go, right, okay, that didn't work, so we'll just get rid of these 3 guys and we'll bring in 3 new guys. The one we want, we can't get at the moment. That doesn't mean that there aren't other options out there, because absolutely there are. I would agree with the comment that Henderson is probably not in his best form at the moment, but we're 1 game into a season, so what we shouldn't do is lose our heads over something like this. It was a poor performance. I'll quote another previous player. Liverpool FA Cup final versus Wimbledon. If you read Alan Hansen's autobiography, he will tell you in the tunnel coming out to the pitch, he knew Liverpool wouldn't win the game because the attitude, the mentality of the players was wrong. And Klopp's alluded to that being a major problem today and not what he wants to see again. So that happens from time to time in sport. The human factor is a bizarre thing. And we've gone in there today with totally the wrong attitude towards the game. And I've said already tonight, when you start something in sports with the wrong attitude, it is next to impossible to reverse that. So we approached the pitch totally the wrong way. We haven't suddenly found that Thiago, Fabinho and Henderson have become terrible footballers. It just didn't happen today. And there are questions to answer, and there are questions over what is Henderson's best role right now. And I get the point that it's probably too much to put on the kids. But those kids have got to grow into men, and they've got to stand up and be counted. And I would have been quite happy for Harvey Elliott to start the game and Henderson be on the bench, because
I'm the same. Yeah,
that's what we did last season against Chelsea at home. And had he not had his injury, we'd be 12 months into the Harvey Elliott project, and I don't think we'd be having this conversation. What I'm not going to do is kind of bail in on the players and say, that was rubbish, that was rubbish, that was rubbish. I think collectively, and I've said this before, that I don't think anybody comes out of that game, Darwin Núñez aside, with too much credibility. That in defeat, you look for positives, and the only positive today is that we didn't lose. Yeah. And that's not good enough. That's Fulham, first game of the season. I agree with you and the previous caller that you go there and you make a statement. And the statement we made today was our attitude was off, and they will get absolutely cleaned out by the boss for that tonight. Absolutely ruined by him for that, because he will not accept that.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, go. No.
Now, I was just going to add that I'm not saying that we need to overhaul anything in the midfield. That wasn't what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, I think Grizz just said it. We need a box to box. I feel like we need someone in that right hand side, to me, that gives us a bit more energy in the midfield, because it's, to me, on the ball, I don't think we necessarily have a problem in most games. We don't have a problem on the ball. I feel like the investment into Yago was a good idea. I feel like Fabinho is great on the ball. It's just Henderson sometimes, I feel like he's not as press resistant as the others and not as progressive as the others. He's not as active as he used to be, in my opinion.
Chris, he's not. I don't think even Hendo fans, even Hendo's most loyal fans will agree with that. Like, I don't see the problem. So people say, oh, there's over defending of Hendo and there's over hating of Hendo. I agree with you. And I'm not a Hendo fan. I think I've got the utmost respect for my club captain for what he's done for us. But there's no shame or there's no harm or there's no pride lost in saying that he's the least press resistant out of all the midfielders. And he's probably the least mobile. Probably, but
Fabinho is
Fabinho. Okay, we can come on to Fabinho if you want to speak on Fabinho, because for me he was the worst player on the pitch. But again, nobody speaks about Fabinho today because the Hendo agenda is so forcibly driven on social media, but mainly people. And I will say this, and if people take offense, fuck them. Mainly the agenda from Henderson, the Henderson agenda will be from people that have never played or coached or been part of any sport at the highest level. Anyone who has, like the likes of Pep Linders, like the likes of Jurgen Klopp, and all the other footballers and coaches that speak on people like Henderson will tell you otherwise. He is not the most technically gifted. Right now, this version of Henderson is not first choice. He shouldn't be first choice in this midfield. But the disrespect is diabolical and laughable. That's where there's a ground in between. And where you're coming from, I agree with you. And you're putting it very clearly and concisely. And therefore, we can have a debate about it. Where I often don't like debating about it is where there's just stupidness.
Yeah, of course. I don't think Henderson is finished or whatever people say. I don't think that. I think there are uses to him in the number 8 role from time to time as rotation. And I feel like it's a benefit to him as well. It's a benefit to him as well because he gets rest. Yeah,
absolutely, Chris. I couldn't agree with you more. And he is the least technical of our midfielders. There's no doubt about it. Certain positions, certain moves do break down because of him. But my God, a lot of goals and a lot of situations are resolved because of him. And he affects a lot off the ball as well. And these great coaches and people around him allude to this fact and pay homage to that. But overall, with your points, I couldn't agree more, bro.
Yeah, no worries.
I actually think, excuse me, guys, sorry. I keep changing my mind about whether we need a box-to-box mobile player. I know I said it today, but about 2 weeks ago, I said we need a destroyer, a powerful Fabinho challenger.
Yeah.
And the reason why I've changed that thinking from about a month ago, I think it was, whatever, or maybe in the transfer window, sort of, at the end of the season, was because I think Henderson can do that very ably.
I agree.
I think he can do that.
he gives a different sort of number 6 role that Fabinho doesn't. And I think he can be perfectly suited to games that I think Fabinho wouldn't be suited to, because I do think Henderson can control games when he's in the number 6 role. I remember him coming on in the Inter Milan game, and I was fuming. I was thinking, why is he taking off Fabinho? This shows that the manager knows what he's doing. I do think there are uses to Henderson in the 6, which is why I feel like getting the box to box will relieve him of that duty, just so Klopp doesn't have to pick him out of whatever reason he wants to pick him out of. He can rotate him in that number 8 role. He can rest him in games he doesn't need him in, and that just keeps the entire midfield fresh. Because I've always said that getting that box to box midfielder, it opens up a lot to us, because not only doesn't lessen the pressure to the young players like Harvey Elliott, even Naby Keita in that right-sided role. It also gives Naby Keita on the left like some time to rest, so he's not getting injured as much. It gives Thiago time to rest because Keita can be playing in some games, and it gives Henderson and Fabinho good competition in the middle. I feel like it gives us a lot in terms of getting players rest in certain games without dropping the quality, which is why I think getting the midfielder is a good idea.
No, I
think, boys, once we've scanned Thiago and we know how long we're looking at, because if it's a grade 3 or worse, then we're looking at months.
Yeah.
Because a hamstring's a very unforgiving injury. And just when you think you're getting somewhere with it, you get a setback. I think Klopp has suggested enough today to say if there's a major problem with him longer term, it would make sense to look at the transfer window. We do have enough bodies. They're just not fit. So there might be a case to go out and buy somebody. And I've spoken to you, Grizz, about this many times, that it was always going to be Bellingham and another to come into the midfield to freshen it either this summer or next summer. Well, that one other might be where the club needs to look now. Because
I agree.
Because if we don't see Thiago till November, because if it's a grade 3 or a grade 4, he's got problems. Then you're relying on Curtis Jones and you're relying on young Fabio Carvalho, and I think that's a big ask. So who knows? I think we'll be dictated by the sports scientists and the doctors when they tell us the prognosis for Thiago, but they already know it's a bad one, which is never a good sign.
No, I agree. I just think today was a bad day in the office. I agree. We're gonna go on a winning streak anyway. That's not my worry, because we're facing Manchester City. That's the standard in the Premier League, unfortunately. 90 plus points. That's what we need to aim for. And at the end of the day, we can't be going into games against Fulham, against whoever, in the mentality we were in today. That's basically it.
Now, you've been fantastic, mate. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, you too.
Chris.
You too, guys.
Feel free to call in again, man. Look after yourself. Well, thank you very much.
You too. Yeah.
Take care, pal. Nice to speak to you, mate. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Wonderful, wonderful callers. 2 amazing callers so far. Off to a great start, people. There's over 320 of you in here. There should be around 200 likes, but there isn't. It's not even close. So can we get those likes up, please, people? Also, people asking, will this... Oh, actually, we've got a super chat to get through. El Drago 11 sends in a super chat. Says, why we think we need one midfielder, in my opinion, at least 2. We need one with experience, because all the talk about Jude, who is 19, and Bundesliga is not the Premier League. He will need time. I don't know why we are not in for De Jong or Rice. You've contradicted yourself a little bit, because I think Rice is fairly young and inexperienced as well in that aspect. Then, if you're saying Jude is... Frankie De Jong is experienced, I get that shout. Okay, very quickly, I agree. I think we need at least one. And that's why I was always of the opinion only, that we should get one this summer and then get one more next summer, which will help with the succession planning. No other reason. That's my simple opinion and reason on it. Sort of name-wise, player-wise, yeah, I mean, Rice is going to be 100 million plus, and so is Jude. So I don't know if Rice and Bellingham would be feasible or possible. But yeah, personally, I would try to get in one this summer and one next summer. Obviously, that next summer being Jude Bellingham, because he's not available this summer. Steve, do you want to add anything to that, or we discussed that to its death, really?
Only that I think if you spend £100 million on Declan Rice, you get that inexperience. You're quite right. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not a massive Declan Rice fan, and I don't know whether it works in a Liverpool midfield, to be honest with you. Just don't see that for me. I do think he's right. There is two needed, because we've got Fabinho, and Fabinho's getting a lot of criticism. But for Fabinho to work properly, the guys left and right of him have to work well as well, and that clearly hasn't happened today. But Fabinho was rightfully taken off because he did have a bad game. We do need to, but I'm not sure going and spending £100 million on Declan Rice is a solution that for me in terms of that. Plus the fact the moment you raise an interest in Declan Rice, Manchester United and Chelsea will come out with the checkbooks, and it'll just become an auction, and it'll be silly money. And anyone in the right mind who's going to pay north of £100 million for Declan Rice probably got more money than sense right now, because he's, like you say, Grizz, he's inexperienced and untested at the top level.
We've got bloody a whole studio full. People, don't forget, new callers or first-time callers are always given priority, and channel members, because that's one of the perks of becoming a channel member. How you become a channel member is click on that link, and it's also in the description. Next caller is a channel member, who is Mr. Zuberi. Mr. Zuberi is in the building.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Today we can hear you. Today we can see you. Today we can speak to you.
I apologize for last week.
Yeah, no. Maybe my bad. Maybe I was going to say, maybe I need to apologize. Maybe you tried to get back on and I didn't let you back on.
No. That was 100% me. I take responsibility.
Okay. No problem at all.
The phone overheated at like 10%. Never saw
it. You know why it overheated, right?
I think it's the point I was landing.
Yeah.
I finished landing it in your comments, and I got it right here. And I will only read the second part, because the second part
Steve, Zuberi and me had a magnificently possibly heated conversation, but it didn't end because his phone gave up on him. Like I nearly gave up on him. But he's gonna come back strong today because he's been doing some homework all week. I know how this kid rolls. So Steve, let's go.
All right, so it's on the fly. Big up, Steve. I did know how to pronounce that. Hope you're well, Steve. So here we go, Grizz. You ready?
Always.
Tactics. So I finished it in the comments, and I said in the comments on the last video, if anyone want to go over there and see it, it says, today, which is the day of the Community Shield, the tactic clearly worked, where we went from normal Liverpool to the new Liverpool. And I also said in that comment, if the tactics don't work, hopefully it works 55 out of 65 games, we'll be able to win the quad. I don't think the tactic worked today, not because of Klopp. I think today was solely on the players, which made me realize something new. You have the development of tactics by the coach, and you have the execution of those tactics on the players. We were a different team today. Look at the game we played against Manchester City. Everyone was up for it. There was a task. All the boxes got checked. Today, there was a lot of unchecked boxes. And one box I'm not going to look at is the Trent at the back post. That's Trent. There's only one solution for that, and I think it's to get him out of that position. Because I don't think I've ever seen Trent went up for a defensive header in his entire career. So with the point I was making last week is I'm not comfortable with the tactics and how they shift. I think it's from old school Liverpool to this new era Klopp want to go in. I think there's a lot of variables. One variable is being Firmino starting today. I don't think Firmino should have started today. You spent $105 million, I think. I don't think it's pound. I think it's dollars. On a player, you have him on your bench. No, I think you make a statement. I think this was the game to make our statement. The same way Fulham had to come out and made a statement about being back in the Premier League. We didn't get our statement across. Fulham did. Mitrovic did. I see him twisting up Van Dijk like he's a top player, like not like he's not a good player, but the way he's twisting up Van Dijk, people don't do that to Van Dijk. I was gonna come out here and rant about Van Dijk, about keep an eye on Van Dijk. You know what I'm saying? Ballon d'Or Van Dijk. That was my energy. I have Van Dijk on the back of 2 of my shirts. That was my energy. And I saw Mitrovic, and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't make that statement. So, Grizz, what me and Tarmizu was saying, we were seeing the variables in the system and how it's being implemented because Klopp also has favorites. I'm not sure if it's the Firmino leaving news. Bobby should have not started that game. A lot of players, I should say, shouldn't have started. But you know me, I put my trust in Klopp. And I think this game will make Klopp look at certain players and realize how to tweak that up. And my comment here and my comment on Kopish says, let's just call this a preseason until proven otherwise. Because if we see the same trends from this game, then we can say, all right, these players aren't good enough. Klopp sees them every day in training. He knows their ability. He's giving them instructions, and whether it's the opposition or the players themselves, if they're not getting executed for whatever reason, I'm not saying dry pitch, but there's nothing else the coach can do. It's just a team, and you have good players, experienced players, quality players. If they don't do what they're supposed to do, there's nothing you can do.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, that's it. So that's what I was trying to say to you because I realized the young kid, Carvalho, on the left. I'd rather him on the left side of midfield, but then that would mean we don't have a backup left winger. So then he's the backup winger. So I was seeing these things in the City game, and I'm like, I don't think this can last 38 games in the league and other games in other competition. We look very limited. We're almost like left wanting more, like a dynamic midfielder, another backup winger, because it's. I feel like we're just limited in the players we have and the capacity that we have. It's like they fit the system so perfectly that when you go from Diaz to Carvalho, you're missing something but gaining something different. When you go from Firmino to Nunes, you're missing something but you're gaining something so different. That means if the supporting players around him go down, the whole system collapses. So that's the point I was trying to make, that I'm not really comfortable with it. We won 3-1, and I was like, not really impressed because I saw these flaws. Thiago coming off injured. I'm not surprised. Ox not available for months. I'm not surprised. So we're going to go from Hendo, Milner, and Fabinho. Jones, Elliott. That's not impressive in a Champions League final. That's not impressive in a cup final. So that's where I was expressing my frustration as far as being satisfied with what I was seeing last week. And now I'm seeing it this week, and I'm like, not impressed. Not impressed. But I'm willing to say, you know what? It's a preseason. Klopp can make his adjustments from here, and we move. Let me know if you're still sitting on the same fence I saw you on last week.
Let me just read the super chat, and then we try to speak on the comments. El Drago says, with you on the one this summer. Oh, he's referring to agreeing that I said one this summer and one next summer would be ideal in terms of transfers, because we're losing at least 2 next summer. To be fair, 247 Premier League games for Rice's experience. No, I rate Rice. I definitely rate Rice, but the price they're asking, like 100 million, is mad. I'm going to address one point and then maybe come back to it. And then if Steve wants to add in what he thinks of your opinions, or you can discuss your opinions, and then we're going to take it from there. Just with the Trent one, you say you want him out of that position. Is it because you don't think he's a good defender? Briefly. I don't need to go on a monologue again.
He's capable, but he's not executing. So what do? He has the gifts. He's not executing.
Executing what exactly?
His defensive position. Sometimes we see Trent have a masterclass.
How many games have we lost? How many points have we lost when it with regards to Trent being culpable? How many games, how many coaches, how many players do you think that Trent is the weak point? And so therefore, in every single game that we play, the opposition know that is the area they're going to target. How many do you think?
5 out of 6 of the top 6 teams think Trent is a weak point. Let's attack Trent.
We didn't play a top team today, and the league is not made up. Let me finish. So we didn't play a top team today, and we don't play 5 out of the top 6 teams throughout the season for 5 seasons. So there's 18 teams. Is it 18 or 19 teams? How many other teams is there, Steve? Zuberi,
There's
help me
20
out.
teams in the league.
So 19.
19 minus the 6.
So there's
number
19.
13.
So there's 19 other. Okay, there's 19 teams in the league that think if there's a weakness in this Liverpool team, it's Trent. Do we agree so far?
Yes.
So therefore, every team he plays, they are trying to create overloads or create situations where Trent is going to be under the most defensive pressure. 19 teams every season for 5-6 seasons since he's been only playing at right back. I think the amount of times he's been culpable as an individual mistake that's led to points being dropped or lost, I think people may be bigger stats gurus than me, but I think we could probably name them on just mine and your hands. Maybe even mine, I don't know. In those 6 years, 19 teams, home and away, I'd say
20 is a fair guess.
I can't remember. I would say there's less than mine and your hands that we can name them on. Name me a fullback, and if you can't, no problem. Until next week, we can discuss again. Name me a fullback at the age of 23, playing at the level of Trent Alexander-the-Great-Arnold. At 23, sir, that hasn't made more mistakes, or name me a mistake that has made less mistakes or been culpable. I doubt you got that stat to hand, or doubt I've got it. It's just a question between brothers.
Right.
Then name me a player in his role at the age of 23 that has been the reason for the amount of chances created, because you said he don't bring nothing to the game or something like that. Execute the game. Then bring me someone who scored the chances and the goals he's created and who's won anything near the guy at 23. And then we can have a discuss on Trent. We should move from that position. Because there is maybe a conversation, but I'm not ready to have that conversation personally for the very reasons I've just explained to you. Because for me, I've just told you 6 years playing at right back, every man, dog, cat, pigeon, goldfish, knowing he's the weak link. So he's targeted week in, week out. And we're talking about less than, I don't even know, this is just a bogus figure, but people hit me in the chat. But less than 20 mistakes in 6 years. I think that's sick.
Grizz, I want you to know I agree with you on this point. And the reason why, I'm one of the biggest Trent fans. I love Trent. I think he should be Sir Alexander from here on forward. The point I'm trying to make is he's never contested a header in the box. And I'm not nitpicking.
False.
No.
False.
Let me lie. He's never like aggressively as a defender would. Hear me out.
I'm hearing you, but I'm not gonna.
The point I'm trying to get at is, I'm not knocking him as far as saying we should totally wipe him off as right back. Shouldn't we hold him accountable? Because there's a lot of moments we could have held him accountable for the position he's put us in. The way he loses his headers in the box, it's not even arguable. Like there's zero effort. Now you and I know football, and if you're on that field and you're putting in zero effort, we should just let you ride because of what you just said. What you said, by the way, is dope. And I'm not debating what you said. What you said was dope and made me realize, like, nah, he's been doing his thing. He's been doing this. I'm a big Trent fan. This is the reason why I love him. Everything you said is the reason why I love Trent. But if I put you in the game and there's a moment in the game you gave me zero effort, I'm supposed to just swallow that. You know how many times we've seen Klopp yelling at Trent, and I'm like, "Come on, Trent."
So can I give my suggestion what I would do? And again,
okay, go ahead.
Again, I'm not the guru. I'm not the oracle. Yeah, as they say in England. Yeah, I'm not the know-it-all. I'm just going to give my opinion to what we could do or what I would do if I was the coach of Trent Alexander the Great. I would say you're 23. You've only been playing in this position for 5 years, 6 years. Before that, you was an attacking midfielder. So therefore, it was never drummed into you all your schoolhood, all your boyhood football, all your college football, all your under 21 football, positional play, awareness, defensive stability, that side of the game is your weakness. So therefore, in the next year or two, because defenders and fullbacks especially peak at around 28 to 30. Son, because I'm old enough, I'd say, son, there's a lot of things that you can work on, and me and you're going to work on that, because the rest of your game is generational from the fullback area. The rest of your game, to my way of playing, is generational. Because you've beaten the likes of fucking Ashley Cole statistics going forward. Ashley Cole is a Hall of Famer when it comes to Premier League. Or any fullback around Europe. Your levels and numbers are fucking out of this world, elite. But son, there are some times when your awareness around you can be improved on. And I'm a coach, so I'm going to coach you. That's how I would approach it. For me, I wouldn't say, you know what, you just got out jumped by 6'4" Mitrovic, who bullied you at the first post in the first game. You're done with right back. I'm moving you. That's how I would approach it. Steve, if you want to add or subtract, or if you don't want to, if you want
there's
to
an awful lot to sit and take into consideration there, and some really good points made by both of you. And I've said this many, many times, that he's not in the team as an orthodox right back. He's in the team as the most creative force in the team. When there was a stat given out last season that he gave the ball away 57 times in one game, well, so does Kevin De Bruyne and so does Bruno Fernandes, because they take risks and they try things to unlock doors and catch people out, and it's okay, because that's what you do in creative situations. When we concede goals at right back and they go into training on Monday, Trent Alexander is not pulled to pieces by the team, by the coaching team. They say, where was my right-sided centre midfielder? Where was my right-sided centre-back? Why did my left-sided centre-back not step across into the right-sided centre-back? Why did my left-back not step across into the left-sided centre-back? Where's my 6? Guys, Trent Alexander-Arnold is in the team to create chances, to create goals, to be expansive. And in the last 12 months, he's been turning up in central midfield positions because he's making inverted runs into pockets of space that is created by our tactics. Our tactic isn't for him to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka Mark II at Crystal Palace, who could slide challenge and win a ball off anybody, or be physical and win a ball off anybody. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a kind of a misnomer. He's a right back for the basis of a team sheet only. We talk about Dani Alves is the quintessential, the number one right back of all time in terms of creativity. We could sit here and watch a tape of Lionel Messi scoring goals where he picks up the ball on the halfway line, beats everybody twice, goes around the goalkeeper and chips it in. He was given a 2-yard pass by Dani Alves when he was given the ball, and then he beat everybody and scored. Guess what? That's an assist. That's very different to picking up the ball 35 yards out on the right-hand side and finding passes like in the League Cup semi-final that he found Diogo Jota with for the second goal. That's why he's in the team. So we've got to get over this idea that we play Trent as a right back because he's a brilliant defender. I've said already tonight, you can't be the best attacking right back in the world and be the best defensive right back in the world. It's not possible. You want that gig, there's a man who wears a red cape with an S on it that probably needs to play in that. It's not possible to do both things. So you have to forsake the defensive element of his game to say, go and do your thing in a creative basis. Today's goal is more about not stopping the cross and the goalkeeper not coming and taking the ball, the attacker and Trent out of the game. He stayed on his line. That's a risk when you've got, because I've said before, I tweeted tonight, number 9s have been bullying fullbacks on back posts since football began. That's what you do. That's great centre forward play, as Grizz said earlier. Sometimes you have to put your hand up and say, it's great forward play, and it was. Yes, it's difficult to get up for a header when the guy's leaning all over you and he's up early. I'm not going to sit here and make a case for Trent to be the best defender in the world because he isn't. But we don't ask him to be. That's not why he's in the team. If we wanted to do that, we'd push him into midfield. But if you talk to him, he says, I don't want to go into midfield because when I pick up the ball, there's nobody behind me. And everything I do is in front of me, and I have no concerns about what's going on behind me. That gives me the time to find the passes, to shape the ball, to look for who my target is. So I get the frustrations about today's goal. I get it's easy. Champions League final. Everyone says Trent went to sleep and Vinicius scored because Trent went to sleep. Andy Robertson's got no right to try and press Modric where he did. He just sidestepped him, and then there's a 2-on-1 with Van Dijk, who doesn't know whether to stick or bust. And then Valverde has a shot that comes across, and it was his shot, that comes across the box, and Vinicius does well with the finish. Those are the two games, the two most recent games where Trent Alexander has been the last defender involved in the concession of the goals. But when you sit and break down why they went wrong, he's not culpable. He's not the reason why those goals went in. You stop crosses at the source. 2 crosses from the right, from Andy Robertson's side, have eluded everybody, and the 2 people who Trent's supposed to be picking up as a not a great defensive fullback have scored. But when you sit and watch the video in the room tomorrow with the coaches, they'll be saying, "You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. And you didn't do that." And Trent, wake up, son. You've got to have a bit more awareness. But there's 3 or 4 other parts of the play, the build, the phase of play that we can stop that from happening. So, yes, I get frustrated when he gets beaten and they score goals. But I celebrate as much as anybody when he's up the pitch creating 24 goals a season. So you can't have both. And the analytical side of it comes down to right centre midfield. I've already said this: right centre back, left centre back, and left back. They move across and they fill in the gap when he's not there. We haven't been doing that so well of late. We didn't do it very well.
I'm so sorry to butt in, but going on to Zuberi's second part, this could be important and we can relate this conversation. And people in the studio, I know there's hell of you waiting, but Zuberi got cut off last week, so I promised to give him his airtime. And Zuberi's a club member as well now, channel member as well. So we're going to speak on this for a few more minutes. Please bear with us. Your second point about the tactical setup could be related to what Steve's trying to say. And maybe there is a conversation about that then. Because if Steve is saying that it's a rarity, and I agree with him, I don't think there's a fullback in history. Even the great Danny Alves, who for me was one of the all-time great fullbacks ever seen. But you can make a whole reel of him being all over the place defensively. That doesn't mean he was bad defensively. I'm just saying shit happens when you're a fullback. You can come up against a speedy, fast, tricky winger who can tear you up on any given day. But what the coaching team and what the analytics team and what Jurgen Klopp in particular then have to evaluate, in my opinion, guys, and people in the chat, is his apparent lack of defensive awareness stroke weakness, is it a strength for us or a weakness for us as Liverpool as a team? Because if it's detrimental to the rest of the setup of the team, then maybe we need to look at moving him. But if the evidence suggests that it's as far more of a positive, then I don't see him moving from that position anytime soon.
So to that point, and the point I was making, thank you, Steve. What you said is probably what I wanted to say, but didn't word it the right way. I don't care about his defensive accolades or mishap. Because like Steve said, Jurgen Klopp isn't going to train and telling Trent to work on his headers. That's not happening. So I don't care about his headers. What I was saying was about the tactics. So this is the point I'm going at now, Grizz. When they pressure Trent's side, the entire opposition shifts left. That left channel for Mane to run into, Robertson with the big switch. Diaz don't make those runs all the time. I saw him made one that Mane normally runs into the inside channel. I think he'll get it eventually. That's why I said today should be a preseason. He'll get that because it's also part of the tactics. Once the other pieces break down, then the weak point really looks weak. Trent, them attacking Trent was one of our greatest assets. Even Pep said it. Trent can ping the ball to Robbo. Now the entire team got to shift. When they shift haphazardly, then we should sit back to Salah, and then we're in. We'll do that all day long, and that was part of our tactics. We've missing Mane, so a part of that tactics is missing. We got to get Diaz up to speed on that. I'm not quite sure how I'll judge Robbo today, but he does have moments where he doesn't execute his tactics very well. And the same can be said for Fabinho, Henderson. So it's not just about Trent. I didn't come here to make it about Trent. But Grizz, you made a good point. I wasn't attacking him. Like I said, I'm the biggest Trent fan. But I know a lot of people attack him. Trent does not practice defending. He's a G in my book because he gives us so much more. People want him to be in the midfield. I never saw that statement. Well, who else are going to put at right back? Somebody just hugs the flank, hugs the line with VVD. That's a Gomez. Then why we're not using Gomez? We'd rather put a Milner there because Milner still offers something going forward. So, Grizz, like I said, the point last week was just down to tactics. And today I saw the same tactics, but it wasn't executed. So, like I said, today it was just down to execution.
Okay. So last week we won using the same personnel, but the execution of the game plan and tactics was spot on. But you didn't feel it.
Nah, because today, I saw the weakness. I saw the weakness.
I hear you. Today we played the same personnel, but according to you, we didn't execute the game plan and we didn't win. Note that. So we haven't lost yet. We're coming back of a season of close to immortality. And we still haven't lost. Yet you're still not convinced.
No. I just wanted to point it out. And
what do you mean no? What do you mean no?
Go ahead.
What do you mean no? That's what you just said.
Because I just want to point it out because, like I said, when I first came in,
point it out.
I made a comment that let's hope the tactics work 55 out of 65 games. I'm not saying we're going to lose 10 games. That's 10 draws in all competition. And that's where I leave it because it may not work every game. But let's hope it work 55 out of 65 because I think we can pick the quad up with 10 draws across all competition.
Zuberi, let the people know you're my favorite on this call-in show every time.
I didn't know that. I'm honored. Thank you.
I'm telling you, because you bring the conversation to a level that I love engaging with. And you bring it from a point and a level of respect. And we've pretty much disagreed on the last 3 phone calls, stream calls.
Have we? I thought you agreed.
No. But we love each other though. And look at that. We had a proper chat about it, brother to brother. And I respect you so much for that. And I agree with I agree with some of your points, but the overall perception of the tactics being wrong and incorrect, I don't agree with. But hey, I still love you and respect you, and it's been amazing chatting to you always.
As always, Grizz. Thank you for having me. Steve, hope to see you again, man. Great.
Count on it. Count on it, my friend. Count on it. Pleasure to talk to you.
Take care. Pleasure speaking with you always, Zuberi. Look after yourself, my brother. Take care.
Take care, guys.
I love Zuberi. He brings the level of conversation. He brings it up, and you need to think. And he makes you think. He doesn't just throw out bozo opinions here, left, right, and center. You can tell he thinks and he talks about them. And then you can engage someone with someone like that by talking about it, back as well.
Good guy.
We've got a super chat before we go to our next caller, who is Ahmed. Get ready. Ahmed, the Chelsea fan, is in the studio. He's coming on next. Guys, I'm going to repeat the same thing. People are messaging me saying, oh, I need to come on. If you've been on here numerous times, I love you and respect you, but I try to bring on new callers every time. And if you're not a new caller, the whole perk of being one of the channel members is to have priority on these kind of shows, interactive shows. H Singh, appreciate the super chat. He says, gents, have we actually improved the first team since the title? ? Have we? Yes, squad. Yes, bench. But I see first team as unchallenged and replaced, not improved. Thoughts? Robbo, Trent, Fab, for example.
That's football. You can't have 22 players and say to them, free for all for the positions. You have certain players that you have to be with, you have to have in your team. You can't go out and buy a world-class right back to challenge Trent, because ultimately someone's going to be unhappy after 3 months, which does nothing for the balance of the squad, nothing for the morale of the squad. With the full-backs, we've got a really unusual position with Kostas Tsimikas. That guy genuinely believes at some point he will be the number one right back. So for 14 million, he's happy to stay in the club and fight for his place and fight for his game time. And I think he genuinely believes that one day he'll have that position for himself. Nico Williams moved on. Nico Williams, because he realised he wasn't going to get game time. So you can't go out and have 22 world-class. Manchester City, who have super resources, don't have 22 world-class players. They have 5 or 6 world-class midfielders. They just sold Zinchenko, who wasn't a world-class left-back, but they've sold him. They don't have that pool of resources to go to. So with Robbo, Tsimikas and Robbo is an unusual relationship. You don't normally have 2 left-backs of that quality in your squad. Something's got to give somewhere down the line, and I suspect in a couple of years it will. With Trent is our playmaker, our risk-taker. We struggle without him. We've just had a long debate about potential defensive issues that he might have that are overlooked because of what he gives us in terms of going forward. The midfield we've spoken about, that needs freshening up, so you'll get a bit of a challenge there. But for years, Salah, Mane and Firmino were untouchable. And have to be honest with you, rightly so as well. And we brought Jota in because Bobby had 12 months where it wasn't really happening for a number of reasons. And it gave Bobby a shot in the arm, and Jota settled in really, really well. Sadio's decided to go and play his trade elsewhere, and we've had to bring in other players. But for 2 or 3 years, there was no chance on earth you did anything to upset that front three, because they were lethal. Arguably one of the best front threes European football's ever seen, along with Messi, Suarez and Neymar. That's how good they were.
I do actually think we've improved the first team, HC. So, brother, from the league winning team, I can safely say, if you compare Bobby now to then, I think Jota and Nunes is, for example, an improvement on Bobby from the league winning team. I think there's an argument for Konate. A lot of people would say Konate has forced his way into the first team lineup. I'd say Thiago Alcantara is a first team improvement. I think we have. At the same time, we've improved the squad. It's not easy replacing a team that's brought the title home and won the Champions League just to say we need to replace them. It's not easy. It's not easy. It ain't easy. To use my line from the Big Six, it ain't easy. But I think we have, and simultaneously improved the squad. I get the frustrations of today. I'm not sitting here with rose-tinted glasses and saying it's not mad today and our performance wasn't stinky. It was a stinky performance. But I'm going to see it differently until proven otherwise. That's the way I've got to look at it. I see what I see and I give my opinion on it. And I've just given you 3-4 players at the top of my head. There may be more, or you might not agree with more. Luis Diaz, very debatable, but he started off very well. But Jota and Nunes, for me, is an upgrade on Bobby Firmino from 2 years ago. In terms of the Bobby now as compared to 2 years ago. I think Tsimikas is a very able deputy for Robertson. I think that's an improvement in terms of squad and possible fighting for the team. I think Konate is 100% so many people's favourite. And I think Thiago Alcantara definitely has improved the first 11. So, look, that's just my opinion, but really appreciate your support and your opinion. We have a new channel member. Big up Reedy DZN. Oh, he's been on the channel before. Leicester City fan. He's also in the studio waiting to come on. He now becomes priority after Ahmed Ali, who I believe is next. Ahmed, my brother, you're very welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're good, man.
Hey,
We're
Ahmed.
good. I know I asked you in the background who you support. Chelsea. Is that who you want to speak about today, my brother?
Yeah, might as well speak about them, to be honest.
Go for it, my man. Go
It
for it.
was, I mean, it was like, one of those like mid games after like a Champions League. That was basically the game we had against Everton, to be honest. But I like the signings that obviously that we brought in so far. They had great showings as I feel like against Everton, to be honest. Particularly Raheem, like the other attackers, I don't know if they existed or not. We're gonna have to find out about that one, But Koulibaly, I feel like for the 65 minutes he played before the cramp, he was pretty good. Like, his pass was actually the one that he gave to Chill, which gave us the penalty, which I really liked about that. It's just that for me, it always goes back to, I think if you ask any Chelsea fan, it's the midfield that is always, the worry. Because
I think it seems to be every club's and team's worries at the moment. Have you not heard the Liverpool fans speak about the Liverpool midfield? I'm sure Man United fans will cry about their midfield. Even Man City may say if Bernardo Silva leaves, what about our midfield? But I know what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah. I think for me, the thing is though, it's been like a problem since last season and the season before. It's been like an issue for a while now because Kante, he's a club legend. There's no doubt about that in my eyes. But Kante, he's lost. The injuries have caught up to him, and like if you watched him this game, even though like he obviously wasn't able to go to preseason for like vaccination reasons and everything, the energy level that Kante used to have is not the same anymore. Like for me, he's the sort of guy you bring in now in the 60 to 65 minute. You bring him on to do the job that he's good at when you need to hold that win or just to control that midfield. Like Jorginho, it seems like on the ball now he's become worse, to be honest. And that was the main thing that we needed him for, like possession, to hold possession, to be sort of the conductor. And like he doesn't really, for me these days, he's much more of this like he controls the sort of like the where we start our play. But the problem is there's no passes into our attack. There's like this huge gap between now our attack and midfield. And the attackers, we can't give them the ball. They're so far out that it slows down the process, and then you're already in two banks of four, and then it's another and the thing is, I know Tuchel obviously wants to bring in Fofana. I absolutely want him because you can't just rely on Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, and Koulibaly. They're quite old people, like in a respectful way. But we need to bring in some young blood as well into the squad as well. And it's just there's a lot of things that we need. I know we need another attacker, but probably we're going for now Freddie De Jong. He would work in that creativity sense of connecting the midfield to the attack. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that as well? I know you obviously have us picked for 5th or 6th, but
No. I mean, it's funny actually because Steve said to me just before we came on live. He said we're just talking about how you've been and everything. He goes, "Yeah, I just seen that Chelsea Everton game and." I just wasted 90 minutes of my life, watching that. So I'll let Steve give his opinion on the Chelsea situation, some of the points you've raised, and then I'll give my opinions on the state of Chelsea.
Hi, Ahmed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I think first and foremost, we all need to have a little reality check. It's the first game of the season. We're not really where we want to be in terms of game plans and physicality and certainly fitness. And I think that's evident by at one stage today, Thiago Silva was sort of reaching for his hamstring.
Yeah.
These guys are not match games, league games are very different to anything you do in pre-season. They ask a lot more of you. Look at that game today. Kovacic is probably the most complete midfielder that Chelsea have got 100%,
for me. Yeah.
And he's had to come from behind the other two to do that. Since the Ballon d'Or 3rd place, Jorginho seems to have fell off a cliff. It's kind of like reached the coup de grace. That's the point of no return. I've completed it, mate, and I'll just chill out a bit and relax a little bit. And I think he's probably the weakest of the three midfielders at the moment. I wouldn't start games and leave Kante on the bench because after an hour the game could be gone. Kante's too good for that. Koulibaly looked good. His passing was really good. It was the ball. You're quite right for the penalty. That was really good. Some really, really good interceptions today. He's improved his positional play. He's improved his ability on the ball under Sarri, no doubt, because we've played them a couple of times, and Mo Salah had him on the floor more than once. But he appears to have improved in all of those areas. Mark Cucurella will be a good signing, assuming Alonso leaves, which looks like that might happen.
Yeah.
But then you've got two £50 million left side, or 163 million and one £50 million left back. So that's an interesting permutation to look at. But it's a squad game these days, so potentially they will do that. I think today was an interesting test. Everton were booed off at half time, which was bizarre. Can't ask for much more than 3 points away at Goodison. It's not been a great place for you to go of late, so it's kind
first
of
time that he won in 5 years apparently.
well. There you go. There you go. So that bodes well, but Everton are not great. So you can only beat what's put in front of you, and you did that today. I think Sterling showed up well today. Takes up some great positions. We all know that he's not prolific in front of goal. He'll still score lots of goals because he gets into those positions, but he's not prolific.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of your forwards, I'm kind of sat scratching my head because I don't know what they're trying to achieve. So that's an area where that needs to be looked at, because Sterling aside, I don't see where your goals come from. Kai Havertz was on the periphery all game today. You wouldn't have known he was playing at times.
Everton, to be honest, as well. Like I feel like he when there's like a lot of physicality in the game, Havertz is not the type of player you bring on to start the game. Like someone like a Broha, for example, because Broha he had like a few sparks here and there when he played on, but like he's probably the type of player you want to be playing against Everton.
But you will get better. You will get better as a squad, just as Liverpool will get better as a squad, just as Fulham will get better as a squad. But they might not believe that after today's performance, but they will. They'll improve. They all will. It takes. That's why they never used to put the league table up for like 6 games. Years ago, you didn't see a league table till like a month or so had gone, because we're all still finding our feet. So it's a good 3 points today. And I think, it's a great start to the season. It gives you a little bit of impetus to go forward. I think sides that are better than Everton, you'll struggle to break them down because of what you've got up front. But I think defensively, as you would expect from the Thomas Tuchel team, I think you'll be fine. I think there'll be a lot of games that'll be hard to watch because it'll be a war of attrition rather than giving opportunities up and snatching set-piece goals, because Koulibaly will offer you quite a bit in that regard as well. So, mate, you should be pleased. It's 3 points in the bag. You can't ask for anything more. It's been a difficult place for you to go. Job done, tick in the box, and you move on to the next one.
I want to echo that. I think your owner surprised me and surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, in terms of how
much. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of how much he's willing to invest. But then someone else told me that this was kind of agreed in terms of with the Premier League as well and everything, that you will have a budget or limit of 200 million to spend.
No, so basically it's 1.7 billion has been set aside for like a whole decade, in essence, of like
wow.
And that's not just for the men's team though. It's like for the men's and women's team that is to be invested into the next decade, basically. So
wow.
I'm pretty sure I remember that from somewhere. Yeah, that's why apparently the rumor is according to the Telegraph, they're willing to spend 300 million.
Yeah. So, look, at the end of the day, and joking aside, whatever he's doing for the betterment of his investment, which in return makes you guys well excited and happy because he's spending money on new players. And you guys are screaming out for new players. So from that aspect, he's doing everything he can. Yeah, look, some people like me have been critical of the approach in terms of the scattergun nature of the approach. Like it's not structured. You're going for a striker, then you're going for a holding player, then you're going for a box to box, then you're going for a centre back, then you're going for a fullback, which so. But look, if Tommy Tuchel is this is what he wants, then you have to trust the process.
Of course.
I think after spending 200 million 2 years ago, and then Lukaku, which didn't work out, and then another 200 million this season, I think there has to be a certain level of scrutiny on your coach.
It's going to
this
be
season.
more than 200 million if you buy for
Yeah. It's going to be more than 200. So there has to be scrutiny over him, which I think he gets away with last season, but fairly, because the turmoil behind the scenes, it's not fair on him. That's not his problem. He managed it very well, I thought. But this season's different. This season, he's bought some players. I love Koulibaly. I think he's a monster centre-back in isolation. I've said what I need to say about Thiago Silva today. I think he's one of the best centre-backs of the last decade. Raheem Sterling, an absolute mega chance creator. But is he what you need in terms of a finisher?
No.
You're yet to find out. But overall, I think you're going to be good, bro. I think you're in a good place with the level of investment he's surprised me with. Wesley Fofana, I think you're going to get him as well. You're going to pay 80 million for him, 75 to 80 million, but you're going to get him. Reedy's nodding away in the background. No, but you know, it's going to happen. There's nothing Leicester in downfall, absolute downfall. But we'll speak to Reedy next about that. But I think you're in a good place, man. I think you're in a good place. I think you should be challenging, you know what I mean, the title, but you're not. And I think you're going to probably finish third. It's out of you and Spurs. I think it's going to be really close, nip and tuck. And
I definitely would say that we're going to, I would hope to finish third and like begin to close the gap. If we get the signings that we need, that's the caveat I would put in by the end of the window.
Yeah, and I pretty much think you will. I just think the amount of money that you're looking to or willing to spend on these players in terms of wages and fees is very difficult to say no.
The wages,
unless you're going Barcelona, of course.
Come on, no, we're not doing that, man. We're not gonna rate the man like that. But I would hope to bring in another attacker. I don't know who he's gonna be. I hope, and the good thing is not gonna be Ronaldo in it. Aubameyang, I'm not. I wouldn't want, and Depay, I would not want at the club because for me, Depay and Havertz are almost. It's almost like you.
I agree with you. Depay, I'm not feeling, but Aubameyang as a short-term fix, and this is what you're after at the end of the day. You're after quick short-term fixes because Koulibaly is a quick short-term fix. Even Raheem Sterling is a fix for now. It's not really looking for the future. Some may argue that Raheem Sterling's because he started when he was 17. Some may say he's not past his peak, but probably not going to see the best of Raheem anymore. Because you got to remember, Raheem Sterling started playing at 17. It's not a normal career where people start playing at 21 at the top level. He started playing at a top level at young. He's played a lot of football. But you're making signings for the now, and so therefore there's a lot of pressure on him. But good luck, man. Not really. I don't mean that. Take that back.
Listen, I was going to say you might win the league, to be honest, this season. I think you could, but
I don't know. After our performance today,
the caveat I would have here, if Bernardo Silva, if it's true that he's going to leave, then Liverpool, in my opinion, they have to win the Premier League because
that's going to be huge. Obviously, the Bernardo Silva possible departure is going to be massive and huge. But listen, it's early doors, man. Chelsea off to a winning start. Spurs off to a winning start. You know, Arsenal off to a winning start. It's a London thing at the moment, you know. It's a London thing. Let's see what Man City do tomorrow, and Man United, I believe, on Monday.
See how tomorrow actually.
Man United.
United's first at the 2:00, I think, and then I think City's 4:30.
Oh yes. You're right. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're right. So let's see how those two teams get on. It'll be interesting. But it's been a fun and interesting start. Ahmed, was there anything else, my brother?
No, that's all, to be honest. Yeah, hopefully we get third and we beat you.
That's it. That's it. I wish you all the best. I wish your team all the worst. Look after yourself, my man. Take care.
Take care.
Take care, buddy.
I wanted to bring up this chat. People, if you see this guy in my chat and you see him in other chats as well, he comes on my channel and with a name like that, Spunky Monkey Gaming and stuff, and has the audacity to call me a Grizz, you're a top red nonce, whatever that means. But mods, do your job, man. I'm very surprised and upset that none of you blocked him before I saw this. And if you see him in other chats on other shows, then if you're mods on those channels as well, I'd suggest block him as well, because we don't need little idiots like that on our shows.
Well said.
We've got a new member. Mike G is a Grizz Khan Ultra now. You're a legend, my friend. Thank you very much. Welcome. Steve's got a goal. Steve, do you want to take one more call? Or do you want to?
Yeah. No, do one more.
All right, let's bring in Reedy, the Leicester City fan, who, my God, must have a lot on his mind. You're very welcome, Reedy. How are you, my man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We're good. I think I speak for Steve. We've had better weekends, but it's good. It's good. Good. Talk to us, my friend. How are you, and what do you want to speak about? Well, I've got a good idea.
Well, yeah, probably the big issue in transfers and just everything with Leicester at the moment. But so a lot of people with predictions and just everyone in general that I'm speaking to are kind of, and I get the reasoning why, but they're all just absolutely writing us off. Not get relegated, but never going to challenge anymore. And I get the point of that, but I feel like the way we're going, if we keep a lot of our players, I still think we've got a chance. I think if we keep Maddison, it was insane last season. Tielemans, I could see him going, but Arsenal have kind of stopped that sort of conversation with him. And for Fofana, I don't see going, just because Rodgers has said he's not for sale. Yes, maybe if the price is right, 85 to 90 million, fair play, he can go. But I don't know. I honestly think we could still do it. Obviously, like last season, we finished 8th, and the only reason we didn't get Europe was because of one, a set piece issue that hopefully was sorted this season, and then a massive issue in injuries last season. So, what is your thoughts on this? I know I've seen your previous thoughts on like 90 minutes and stuff like that, saying that you don't think we've got a chance in competing, but I think, in my opinion, I think we have.
Steve, as Reedy says, he's heard my opinion. He's bored to death about my opinion. He wants yours.
So you have some decent squad players. I think the notion that someone would part with £80 million plus for Wesley Fofana after, let's be honest, 1 season and 7 games at Leicester is absolutely bizarre. That's whilst he shows a lot of promise. Played 7 games at the end of last season after a leg break. So we don't really know where he's at psychologically in terms of putting his body on the line, really, do we? And it's a crazy amount of money. And I think if they come with 85 million, they'll sell him. My concern for you guys isn't the fact that you're selling players, because you've still got Harvey Barnes, you've still got, some Pereira's a great player coming back from his injury. You got other players that
he's out for 6 months now.
Oh, is he injured now again?
Just again, yeah. In the pre-season game against Sevilla, he took the Achilles injury.
Crazy,
so he's out for 6 months.
Crazy unlucky.
Right, okay, well, I'll withdraw that one then. But you're getting some bodies back. Vardy will still score you a dozen goals or more, because Vardy's Vardy, and he seems to have found a way to get the best out of him. If I'm being honest with you, Reedy, I think your biggest problem is when you're playing against teams and you need to find a plan B. Brendan Rodgers is one of the most tactically inflexible managers in the Premier League. We know because we had him.
Yeah.
And when his idea of a game plan doesn't work, he kind of stands, same as Pochettino, he kind of stands and watches and isn't able to make in-game changes to tactics to swing the game in Leicester's favour. So I think you'll be okay. I have to be honest with you, if you do as well as you did last season, I think I would be surprised, not because of Leicester, but because teams around you. Shocked by Aston Villa's performance today, I have to be honest with you. I thought Aston Villa would be some competition for Leicester in terms of final league places. There's a few wake-up calls gone out today. Our team's had one. Aston Villa have had one. So it's interesting. I don't see any investment. What would worry me is you've just sold Kasper Schmeichel and the ex-Liverpool goalkeeper, the Welsh lad, is being touted as your new number one. And we've seen that before at Liverpool, and it never happened. So where's the investment come from? There needs to be some. You've got great owners. You've got tremendous owners. The worry is you spent so much updating your training ground. What has that done to your readily available cash?
I think you're right in saying that we need to do an investment in this year, but I think with the amount of squad players we've got, as in we've got somebody coming up back from loan from Torino in Pratt, you've got like other players like Sumara who barely fit into the squad last season because he just didn't really play well. Daka, another attacker which I still really rate, and I hopefully he gets in more this season. But there is still like a lot of players on deadwood kind of status with Chowdhury, who's on like 60k a week. You've got Vestergaard, who's like 70k a week. A lot of these players are like really high wages that who will even take them, even on loan, and pay that more wage? They won't. And the issue is the club have said we can only buy players once we've sold them because we've got about 29 players in the squad. And because we're only going to have 25, there's no point bringing people in without getting rid of a lot of players. And yes, Casper's made one of the biggest ones because his wages was one of the top wages in the club. Other than that, now I can't see us getting rid of anyone, and that means other than maybe a Fofana, I would probably say has to go if we want to bring anyone in. Other than that, we won't be bringing anyone. As even Brendan Rodgers has said that no one's going to come in if we don't sell anyone. But and I do get you mean about.
But why is that? But why is that? Is that because of your numbers, or is that because of finances?
I think it's both. We're not. Yeah, it's mainly wages because we're not in debt at all. I think we're like the only 3 or 4 clubs that aren't in debt at all. It's literally just because there's so many players who are on the fringe of getting into the first team or just won't get into the first team. Like, for instance, if Kasper Schmeichel was still here, Ward wouldn't get in, and he's on the wages that are probably middle wage high. I'm not too sure, but there's certain players that are just not going to get into the team, and we're not going to be able to sell because they are on too high wages. And the only players we can really sell now is all of our big players because they're the ones that want. They're all the clubs want. So it's a hard one to say, but again, the only way I see positive wise is yes, all the clubs are investing and in building into their team more, but we've still got that same set squad that we've had for the last three seasons, and the last 3 seasons have been pretty impressive for what Leicester actually is at the moment for me.
I was going to ask you a question. This might be a tough question. This might be an easy question, actually, depending on your opinion on the players. I think you will lose 1 star. Choose which one. Maddison, Fofana, Tielemans.
I'm going to say Tielemans. I don't really mind going anyway, because he's one that last season really didn't perform well because of, I think it was more in his head that he did want the move in the way, and he didn't really play well. And I think Juice Peel just showed how well a midfielder can be for us because he was a better midfielder last season to him. But I think out of the two even bigger ones, I would probably prefer Fofana to go, just because I think Maddison's absolutely incredible, and how we didn't get into the the last squad for England, I don't get how he wasn't even in there. Yes, he's got a competition in like people like Mount and Foden and a lot of players like that, but I think he performed best last season with his stats as well. And Fofana only because the amount we're going to get for him, if he does go for that much, we could easily bring 2 or 3 players in that, and how Leicester do buy, we could easily buy another kind of Fofana for 25 million or less, I guess. Maybe it might not happen, but that's sort of style that Leicester go for, and hopefully we could bring another Fofana.
Check this out. If you lose Fofana, and like you said, you might not bring anyone else in, and Pereira's out for 6 months, and Vardy's 46 now, I genuinely think you will struggle this season. I'm not saying you will go down, but you most certainly won't be vying for top 8. I think I'd say you're one of the dark horses if you lose Fofana to really, really struggle, man. I don't know what Steve thinks. I think you're in quite a bit of a dilemma, because you will lose at least 2 of those 3. No, at least one. I'd think two. I think if a good enough offer, because Tielemans is only going to fetch you 25 million now, and that's not enough for you to reinvest in the squad. Fofana's the one that you want to try to spend 80 million because you want to reinvest. You want to get the maximum. I get your point actually now. I was thinking, really, bro, you want to lose Fofana? Because for me, Fofana is one of the outstanding centre backs of the Premier League and is a long-term investment for whoever buys him. Maddison, all right, no problem. You want to keep him the mostest. I've got a feeling he wants to probably leave the mostest. So it's a tricky one.
Probably. I know you mean probably that is probably the case because
it's a tricky one, man.
He can easily go into any team.
Tallest thinks you finished ninth. I thought he said 9th. It's tallest 9-3. 13th. Yeah, I think around there, man. Steve, would you, if you had to sell?
I think you might lose I think you might lose Maddison and Fofana. Because
I think they're definitely losing. But I think they're definitely losing.
Yeah.
They're definitely losing Tielemans, so that means it's possibly all three then.
Well, Arsenal have dried up on Tielemans. I know Tielemans has got his house up for sale, but Arsenal have dried up on him. The conversation's gone quiet. I think he's the one of the three that's most likely to stay right now. I think Newcastle come back with 60 million for Maddison, and Maddison will hand in a transfer request because he's been at Leicester now for 3 or 4 years, and they're not taking steps forward. And the Fofana thing is just stupid money, and you couldn't turn that down for. I know you rate him, Grizz, but
about 80 million, yeah.
But the reality is, if you look at his career to date, there's nothing there that warrants 80 million other than potential. And if Chelsea have got that kind of money to throw around, then they'll do it. But you could end up with 140 million pound in the bank, which pays for your training centre. And there's a danger that is good enough for the board that you've balanced the books because your new state-of-the-art training centres like top draw, and then I would agree with the guys that you will struggle. And listen, the biggest thing Brendan Rodgers brought to Liverpool was his ego, and he doesn't deal with senior players very well. I'm surprised his relationship with Vardy is as cordial as it is because he saw to it the end of Jamie Carragher and Steven Gerrard's careers without contract extensions because he didn't like big senior players in and around the dressing room, and he is a bit of a megalomaniac is probably a better word, but he wants to be in charge of everything. Would worry me. I'd be very worried. I liked the Leicester story from 14. I loved it. I think if you're a Liverpool fan and your team when you won the title and Liverpool don't get anywhere near it, then you look at that and you think, wow, what a story that is. And there's lots of players in and around that squad that you could relate to and enjoy what Leicester did. Since Rodgers has gone in there, I can't. The FA Cup was great, yeah, don't get me wrong, but that was a case of right place at the right time. I was surprised he didn't lose his job sort of just before halfway in last season when you think you went down as far as 16th and you were losing games in Europe you had no right to lose. I just wonder where you go with him because he's his own biggest fan and he's got no plan B and you can't have games where you go out, you start quick, teams nullify that threat, they get into the game and then they win the game and you look at Brendan Rodgers and you think to yourself, well, go on then, what are you going to do? And he doesn't do anything. Is that how the Leicester fans feel with him?
I think honestly, since he's come in, I think we've improved. Just because beforehand, all we were, and I think everyone would know that before he came in, we were just a counter-attacking team. And after the year we won the league, everyone guessed what we were doing. Everyone could tell the moment that we put that ball over the top, all we had to do was just stop Vardy and we were going to do it. And we nearly relegated that season, I think. And if we didn't sack Ranieri at that point, I think we could have. And since he's been in, even more the possession-based game, yes, it maybe hasn't got a plan B kind of side to him, but his possession side of the game has improved as massively because we're out possessing Arsenal at times, out possessing United at times. Maybe not the Liverpools and Man Cities, obviously, but it's changed us. And I think for me, I think I've said it to Chris before. I think he's probably the best we'll get. So if we lose, if we lose Rodgers now, I don't think we'll be able to improve on him.
Do you not think there's an element of the Luis Suarez syndrome where if you put decent players in your squad, they'll do it for you? Because I think when Liverpool went close, was as much to do with Luis Suarez's determination and his willingness to win games as it was the tactical side of things. Because I know Grizz would know this too, that in the last 12 months, Suarez and Rodgers barely spoke. It was all done through Steven Gerrard. So, because after the Arsenal transfer debacle, I don't know how do you feel, Grizz? Do you think there's an element of they've got some good players in some good positions and it's gelled rather than tactical awareness? That's kind of how I see what's going on at Leicester.
I think they've done very well in the transfer market over the last 4 or 5 seasons. I think they're apart from the top, I think they're one of the best well-run clubs in the Premier League. And they bore the fruits of that. They buy very well, they sell very well. But when you're operating at that level, every transfer has to be a success because they haven't got a limitless pot.
We can't compete with all the other teams that are buying, like say the Haaland or the Nunes. You've got to be buying cheaper players that hopefully will perform like Daka.
Absolutely, and you can't. The margin of error for clubs like Leicester is really, really low. So kudos to them the way they've been run and operated, man. I think they've got fantastic owners overall, and the job they've done is commendable. Obviously some coaches have worked, some haven't. And obviously they've had sort of the issues around sort of the death of their owner, whatever, and that's been very tragic as well. So overall, I think they're a very, very well-run club. But unfortunately, it's one of those clubs where the transfers have to be absolutely spot on because they can't do a lot of them. It's because of the nature of the working model. I genuinely think, though, they've got to a point where injuries absolutely dismantled them last season. People don't talk about injuries when it comes to other clubs, apart from looking at your own. But Leicester City fans will tell you their injury situation was crazy.
And that was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's crazy every week. And you're talking 2-3 months every time. Not even like a couple of weeks injuries.
We've never had a full 11 fit in a game last season. And I think obviously coming into the game tomorrow, before Ricardo got injured, we had a full fit team ready to go, and shock, we already got an injury.
There you go. So I just think, look, you've got a few gems in there, like Steve says. You've got a group of very good players. I think that Dewsbury Hall is an absolute gem, and if he continues the progress, then you're looking at one of the big boys coming in from him as well. We've spoken about Fofana. What a player he is. You've got a couple of fullbacks that are class. Castagne that you bought from Atalanta.
Mm-hmm.
Class. Daka hasn't. What's your thoughts on Daka? Came in with a lot of hype and a hope.
I loved that signing, and when the likes of Liverpool fans were saying that you were interested in him, and when we brought him in, it was kind of a shock sign. I was like, wow, that's like a signature signing for us, because yes, he didn't do too well last season, but he got about 10 goals and a few assists, and I thought that's a decent season. And I've seen his interview for this season, and he said that he's looking stronger. He knows what he needs to do in the team this season, and hopefully he will maybe be a better Vardy this season. And I hope he will, because I think he could be the change that maybe could push us to the top 8. I don't know, but like I say, from what I've seen in him, I think we didn't play to his style last season, and I don't think we played to Vardy's last season. But hopefully this season, and from what Rodgers has said in his press conferences coming into the season, he said that he is looking to change things up into tactics and how he plays stuff. And that's maybe another reason why I'm quite optimistic about this season with what we've done in pre-season. I think we only lost 1 out of about 6 or 5, I can't remember. But other than that, I don't know. I still feel so optimistic about getting maybe 7th. I don't know. But again, if we can win a cup in maybe the FA Cup like we have done once, we'll get into Europe that way. But I know what you mean. It's going to be tough. And I just don't think the club in general will want to lose all 3 top stars. I think maximum they will only want to lose 1.
Well, I love your optimism, mate. And if you can keep your players,
I hope so.
You've got a squad. You have got a squad, so it'd be really interesting to see how that unfolds.
And
100%.
I just hope we can beat you one game this season again.
Oh, leave us alone. Just leave us alone. Stop making our game the pinnacle of your season or the cup final.
Oh
of your
yeah.
season. Can you do something with the other teams as well, like Man City for once? Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like bend over backwards.
we nearly got there last season.
You know what I mean? Leave us alone, man. You know what I mean? It's Man City. More teams need to focus on Man City than saying, "Oh, Liverpool." We just hope we'll get one over Liverpool. You know.
I'll give you one thing. The moment the last game of the season ended, and we saw how your both games ended, Man City and Liverpool, everyone was saying, "Oh, Lookman cost you your whole season." I went, "He didn't," but
yeah. Well, it is what it is, isn't it? If Salah puts that penalty away, you know, would have been all wonderful, different. Whole different story, but really it's been amazing. We're always chatting to you. Nice one. Thanks for calling in, man. Look after yourself. Hope to speak to you soon. Good luck.
Cheers, both.
What do you want to do, boss?
I'm gonna have to shoot, mate, because I've got a few bits and pieces to tie up. But you've still got 4.
Yeah.
I can see you've still got 4 to talk to.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna try to get through as many as I can, people. Sticking with me, especially my right hand's leaving me. So, all right, right hand man. I suppose I'll see you later on, and we chat tomorrow. Have your notes ready, son. I'm gonna.
Those of you waiting, enjoy your chat. I'll catch up with you next time, guys. So, take it easy. All right, Grizz. See you soon, man.
Hello, mate. Take care. Bye bye.
Okay,
Conray's in the building. He's not quite in the building, but he's in the chat. He says, "Smash the like, folks." Vase of Flowers says, cat or dog, Grizz? I'm definitely a cat man. Definitely. Don't say dog. Oh, look at that. Don't say dog or I'll cry. Well, there you go. You'd have to cry now. Next caller in the chat is Michael Briggs. We're going to bring him into the stream. Michael, what's happening, my brother?
Good, how are you, man?
I'm good. Talk to me, my bro. How are you feeling? Where are you calling from? What's your team? Your team's Man United. Of course it is, I remember.
Yeah, from
and America. You're calling from USA. Yes, I remember. There you go. You can't say I don't remember. How are you?
Good, man. How are you? All good.
Good. Talk to me, bro.
I don't want to talk about United because they haven't played yet, so that's tomorrow. Talk about Liverpool because watch the game in the morning. Obviously,
back. Really?
Watch all the. Nah, a little bit. I have all the games, but
okay.
On Liverpool. Just quick stuff. It's just a little praise.
Then let me bring another. Do you mind if I bring another caller on as well at the same time as you? Yeah, because I thought you were going to speak about Man United. I'll bring in another Liverpool fan, Huss, who's in the building as well. Huss, you're very welcome to my stream. How you doing, bro?
How you doing, Grizz? I'm good. Hope everyone's well.
Good. Everyone is cool. Even though Michael's a Man United fan, he wants to speak on Liverpool, and I know you're a Liverpool fan because I've spoken to you before. Hope you guys don't mind. I'll get you on the same stream, you know?
Yeah, that's fine.
Good. Go on, Michael.
So obviously, it was an entertaining game. It was a very entertaining game as a neutral, even though I supported Fulham just a little bit. Yeah. But with the starting, I look at the starting lineup, and I think someone asked you earlier, the starting striker, I would think that Nunez would start, and you saw the impact that he made. Because I know a lot of people have criticized him on social media and everything, but I never did that because I know stylistically a forward like him in a system like a Liverpool or City similar to Holland will get the chances. And you saw right away, I think he created by his movement, 3 chances, maybe 8 minutes. Because with him, I like to call him a striker from the lineage of Cavani, Uruguayan, similar. Just their movement creates chances. So I wonder, do you think that Klopp would realize his mistake and then next week you kind of see a little change in that aspect?
I'm going to very quickly say my piece, and then it's all about you two. I think that comparison to Cavani is so legit. I've been saying it. He's a quicker, younger, obviously, more powerful version of Cavani. And people are going to see that as time goes past. He's quicker than Cavani, but in terms of his movement and stylistically, and that nature of, Cavani would just... So you see Cavani playing, you think, how's the guy involved in so many chances? That's what you're going to see with Nunez. He may not have the technical ability of a Bobby Firmino, or Cavani may not have the technical ability of a Berbatov, but for their respective clubs, and he wasn't used enough at all. He was wasted at United, absolute wasted under Ole. didn't know how to use him. But with our boy, I think he's going to be very, very useful. What's what you saying?
Sorry, regarding Nunes.
Mm-hmm.
With Nunes,
So Michael's saying basically, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong. Michael basically saying that will Klopp start using him more? Maybe mistake he made today in not selecting him. Something along those lines, Michael.
Yeah. I think he has to. The way, if Jota's still out injured, I think Nunes should be the way we go. Because you saw when he came on, even though he didn't play for that long, he just causes chaos in the box. Like, even if he's not, getting a goal off or a shot off, he causes like defenders to have a different like perspective. Because with Firmino, you know what he's gonna do. He wants the ball like to feet kind of thing. Nunes stretches teams a bit more, I think, and because he's a bit different and a bit of an unknown, I think we should start playing him. And I think after today, we'll probably see a lot more of him.
Michael, as a not a neutral, you ain't neutral shit, but like as a United fan, trying to be open-minded as you can and trying to see the Premier League battle for the battle that it will be. And where do you see the advantages for either club looking from the outside and disadvantages? Because a lot's been made about our signings and Nunes and Mane going and then not I personally have, and I've been quite vocal about it, not enough people have spoken about the missing vital squad missing players of Jesus and Sterling and Zinchenko, Fernandinho, possibly Bernardo Silva, but I'll hold my breath on that one. How do you see, where do you see it being won and lost?
So basically with City, they have the superior midfield. Obviously, it is a Pep system, so tiki-taka, all that. They will always have the superior midfield over Liverpool, in my opinion, because of the quality of players that Pep wants in that midfield. But you do have the superior attack, especially, as you said, Sterling and Gabriel Jesus were key cogs, and City are bringing in 2 new attackers, which, especially with Haaland, they do have to get used to playing with him more than Liverpool have to do with Nunez. I think Liverpool haven't shown that they can play the chaos ball in a way. They can play very direct. They've done it before, so it's not like it's a new thing for them. With City, we saw it at the Community Shield with Kevin De Bruyne and everything, and it was just Haaland making runs. Kevin De Bruyne looked like he wanted to punch a couple of City players in the face because they weren't making runs, i.e. a Jack Grealish, for example. So I do think you have the superior in attack. Defense, I think, is pretty equal, to be honest, because both of you have the best defenses in Europe, honestly. That's why Alisson and Ederson always win the Golden Glove. They stay to share between each other. But if Liverpool do add that extra midfielder, I don't know if you will, but if you do, then maybe I could sneak in a little bit because I have to see how City adjust with Haaland. Even though I think Julian Alvarez will be a hit for them because I rate him very highly. I wanted him on my club 6 months ago, which hurts me to this day still and will hurt me for the future. Same with Nunez. I wanted him on my club because I want goal scorers. But I do think it's the defense wins championships, obviously, so that's equal. But the attack, maybe Liverpool, they have that game. They've shown that they have a little more chemistry in attack right now. So I have to see how City plays. We'll see tomorrow because their first game is tomorrow, so we'll see how that happens.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Horst, what do you think about that? And tell me what you want to speak about if there was something different to that.
Yeah, we could speak about Nunes, but I came on to kind of speak about Klopp and some of his comments post-match regarding our injuries and the midfield situation, because I don't know, because I've not been watching the stream from the start, so I don't know if you guys covered the infamous midfield situation.
Oh hell yeah, we had a brilliant session on that, but no problem. Feel free, speak what you want to speak about.
So I've just seen Klopp's comments. I've got them here actually. He says something about when we make a transfer, it must make sense now and in the long term, and he says we have enough midfielders, basically saying the problem is that they're injured. And he goes, the problem now is we get punished for something that is not our responsibility, really, because things like this can happen. Bodies are like this. I just wanted to see what you thought of that, because I don't know, like, I just think we know how our players are. Like Klopp saying, kind of think, trying to blame like
luck.
Like, for example,
blaming luck. Yeah, he's blaming luck.
Yeah, he's saying like, yeah, luck and these things can happen. But we know with the history of our players, Thiago can't stay fit. Naby is a injury prone player. Hendo gets the odd knocks. Curtis, he misses a few games. We do pick up a lot of these injuries, and I don't know if it's just luck. I think some of our players, they can't be trusted to play even 30+ league games a season. And I was just thinking, what do you guys make of the comments? Is it luck, or do you reckon? Because obviously there's that massive midfield chat that's happened throughout the whole summer. I'm of the opinion that, you know, a lot of people say we need a midfielder, but I actually think I'll go on further. I think we need two probably, because I think whether with the midfield, it's usually people think either our midfield's fine and it's just the quality's there, and it's like, you know, it's just reliability with fitness. Do you guys think it's like a reliability issue thing and our midfielders are fine, or do you think there's a quality issue there as well? Because I think it's actually both. I think some of our midfielders are good, but the ones that are good, they're either injury prone, or the ones then the other half just probably ain't that good to play. I wanted to know what you guys thought of that, really, like with our midfield, because do you think it's just a quality issue or a reliability issue or a mixture of both?
So even though I'm the Liverpool fan, I've got a special caller on as well. So I'm going to let Michael, if he wants to have an opinion on it, or do you need to go for it?
Go for it. So putting my neutral hat on, but for this, I do think that there is a reliability issue. You said Thiago is always injured. He's had that from Bayern Munich days. Naby Keita, we've seen this guy's going to put a full season. Ox has like a hamstring injury every year. But I do think there's players in the team that Klopp can use, like a Fabio Carvalho, for example, very, 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 very highly. He might be my second favorite Liverpool player, honestly. I think he could be used in that right center mid spot. I think a Harvey Elliott could be used in it. So I think it's more the reliability issue. And I also think Liverpool fans are overestimating the quality of midfielder that they need. Everyone keeps saying Jude, Barella, which would obviously transform the team to the highest possible level because those are world-class midfielders. But I think like a 30 mil, 40 midfielder like a Mateus Nunes, who you're also linked with, I think that would suffice in terms of quality. I don't think that you need a Jude to be world beaters, in my opinion, on that.
Okay.
Yeah, look, this midfield debate, you know what I mean? Even Jurgen Klopp, I haven't read the comments, and more importantly, I haven't seen the whole press conference before I want to comment on his comments directly, if you know what I mean. I don't like doing that, so I hope you don't mind, because I like to read the whole context as opposed to just a couple of lines that have been taken out of everything what he said. But if like we know Jurgen Klopp, we know tonight he's probably angry and as frustrated as us, because we know he's a coach that coaches with his heart on his sleeve. He's like that. He's one of the fans. He knows what we're going through. But we also know that he has a way of managing, not just coaching, bro. We know he has a way of managing because he's a manager, not just a coach. And when we employed this manager, we knew about his traits, his style, his man management, how he operates in the transfer market, or what his philosophies are when it comes to buying players or selling players. We knew all that, bro. Trust me, because we had the likes of Carlo Ancelotti as another option and many more. But when we chose Jurgen Klopp, we didn't only just choose his coaching ability. We chose him. We looked at his every aspect. Now, we're never going to always agree with the coach. I didn't agree with the lineup, for example, today. I'm pretty sure 65, 70% of the fan base didn't agree. Everybody wanted to, or majority, even more of the majority probably wanted to see Nunes start, right? I don't know what you was like.
I wanted Nunes to start, but I wasn't upset Firmino was starting.
Upset is to be upset about. I was fine with wild. I mean, that's wild. If you're going to be upset about the greatest manager's decisions, then go for some fresh air or something. But you can disagree with it internally. You can rant and rave, but to be upset about it is a bit deep for me anyway. But each to their own. when you got a manager like this, and Michael will tell you, because in recent times, you've probably had the two greatest managers ever in Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho. And by God, they're the most stubborn people, and in terms of how they manage, how they coach, and how they run their clubs, or how they like to run their clubs. And unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, depending on the success of your coach, was we have got Jurgen Klopp, who is one of the greatest managers of recent times, but is a stubborn mule, because that's what makes or breaks them.
Yeah.
That's what makes or breaks them. So all these calls that Jurgen Klopp makes that we don't agree with, and we're thinking, come on, man, are you playing with us? Are you really playing with us that we don't need another midfielder? If it don't work for him, his head's on the chopping block, so to speak. Not now, but further down the line. Let's say he doesn't win anything this season. Let's say he doesn't win anything the next season. There's gonna be calls for him. There is. That's the nature of the beast now. If he doesn't win anything this season, if he doesn't win anything next season, there will be huge amounts of pressure. And that's when we can start saying, you know what? He's not only stubborn, but he's not won us anything. We're the bridesmaid. Forever, we keep coming close. We keep coming second. We keep bringing runners up. You know what? Yeah, wicked. Thank you for bringing us the Champions League in the Premier League. But how long will it be if he doesn't win another 2 years? How long will it be he's been at the club? 5 and 7 seasons, will it be?
It's been about 7 seasons, I think, now.
So that would be 9 years.
Yeah.
Another 2 seasons, right? If he doesn't win nothing in the next 2 seasons, that would be 9 seasons. And we've got an FA Cup. Well, we've got all the trophies, but not enough, I'd say, for the quality of team and squad we've got. But until
we're up
then,
against City as well.
But regardless. But until then, my point being, me just personally, I'm happy to ride and die with this guy. That's just me personally.
Same. It's just
it's frustrating. Me and you both are sitting here, Liverpool fans. We're hella frustrated tonight. We know we need a midfielder. Michael's come in, and even though Michael's a United fan, from speaking to him a couple of times, you can tell he's speaking logically and rationally, and he's given us his opinion from the outside, and he's told us what majority of us think. But at the end of the day, it's just what we think.
Yeah, of course.
That's what we are, man. We're fans, we're supporters. We try to get behind something we believe in. If we don't believe in it, don't get behind it. No pressure. No pressure, right? You're not forced to support Liverpool.
Yeah,
are you forced to support Liverpool? If you don't agree with the owner, if you don't agree with the coach, if you're forever arguing, if you're forever thinking our team's shit, if you're forever disagreeing the way clubs operated, why are you here, man, supporting Liverpool? Like, just say football fan. Just say football fan. Yeah, I love good football. If Liverpool play good, yeah, big up Liverpool. If Man City play good, yeah, big up Man City. Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne, go. Rashford, oh man. You know, just say you're a Liverpool fan. No, just say you're a football fan and you enjoy football. Because the essence or the meaning of a Liverpool supporter is support. Even if we may disagree, and man, of course we disagree on loads of things, man. No coach is perfect. No owner is perfect. No player is perfect. But for the short answer to your question, I'm sorry I've given you a long answer, is if he genuinely believes that we don't need a midfielder and we're good, then I disagree with him. But I'm not privy to all the facts and stats and what the man knows, because last season majority of those players were available. I know you mentioned a couple of players, but Ox was available all the time. Naby was available all the time. Thiago missed a few games, durability of Henderson, Thiago maybe, but I agree with you. I think we need another body in there.
it's just with Klopp, with certain things, I don't know if he's just saying this because last season we go back to it with the midfield. Oxlade was actually fit quite a lot. I think from January onwards he was completely fit. He just wasn't playing. But Klopp comes out in pre-season saying he has a dynamic you can't buy in the market, and yet he decides not to play him. Pretty much, there's just stuff like that. I think, does he actually rate them, or is he just saying that and then not playing them? I don't. I'm a bit confused. But
I'm a bit confused as well. So, for example, when he said that comment about Oxlade-Chamberlain, Michael, let's fill you in. I don't know if you're aware of the comment he made.
No.
So he was asked about. Was it specifically Ox he was asked about,
no,
or was it?
I think he was asked about signings, and he says about the midfield again, because I think the midfield thing happened last summer as well. We wanted a midfielder.
So he was asked. Yeah, he was asked about the midfield options and everything, and he kind of, and obviously we're paraphrasing because it was a long time ago, but he roughly said, "Look through my midfield options and tell me which skills are lacking. Like, we've got an abundance of skill set throughout the players." You know, he mentioned Oxlade-Chamberlain's dynamism or something, you know, blah blah blah. And what Hass is asking, is it Hass or Huss? Huss. Yeah. What's it short for?
Hussein.
Okay. Do you mind if I call you Hussein?
Yeah, if you want to,
okay.
Go ahead.
It's a beautiful name, so I love that name. So I'm going to call you Hussein if you don't mind. If you mind me calling that, then I'll call you Huss. But I'll call you Hussein because I love that name. Hussein's asking me that, or Hussein's chatting about in terms of, do we really believe that, like he meant that? Or do coaches basically, we can generalize that. Do coaches really believe or tell the truth in press conferences and what they say? I don't think they do, bro. I don't think they do. They got to say what they got to say for the morale of the team, the man management skill, for maybe tactical, being tactical in the transfer market. Maybe agents are listening on. So many things that play. Like, I kind of agree with him in terms of the skill set our midfield has on the whole. But I've said it many times on my Twitter and on my shows. The durability, the reliability, and it's obviously the trust that he has in some of these players suggests otherwise. That's my take on it, bro.
Yeah, that's a good. Obviously, it's just such a big discussion point. Whenever I speak to Liverpool fans, it's always about the midfield. Do we need a midfielder? Do we need two? Obviously, I said I think we need two, but maybe I've not really heard many people. Everyone just wants Bellingham or Barella. I think, because we saw today with Henderson, I think Henderson should be played at a 6. I think he's still a good 6, but as a roaming 8, you know, going forward, maybe that's where we do with someone. But obviously, that's a discussion where it's never ending. So I just wanted to speak about like Klopp's comments regarding the midfield, and because he did say, I think a couple of weeks ago, he said we're done for the window unless we get injuries. Well, Thiago's just gone down.
I think he hates that. I think he hated saying that. Because today, he kind of knew today, people have been sending me messages and quotes and whatever, but I like to see the whole press conference in full. But I can imagine him being, fuck, why did I say that a couple of weeks ago? Now I've got 4 more injuries after I said that. But it's almost like, I don't know, I'm confused. I don't know, I haven't got an answer. I've got an opinion.
Yeah, I know what he's doing. I think we are literally waiting for, he wants to get like a transformative signing, like a Bellingham, and he's happy to wait. Whether it like.
But the question on everyone's lips, or one of the points on most people's lips is, we need more than Jude.
Yeah, I just think we're literally going to wait, and whether our midfield doesn't work out or anything, we don't care. We're just going to go with what we have. We saw with Khanage, we are prepared to wait, whether that's right or wrong, whether you guys agree with it. I think we've shown many a time that if we can't get our target, we'll wait, and we don't really care in the short term as much. Because we're not going to finish like, you know, it's not like we're still, our midfield's terrible. Like, we do have a good midfield. These guys got 93 points last season. Any season,
97 points, 93 points, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
When people disrespect that, that's when I switch into my top red mode.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, that's when I switch. But I can have a conversation in between as well.
Yeah, same.
So do you know what I mean? We can have a conversation. Like we're speaking to a Man United fan, and he's probably thinking, you guys are eating nice, man, and your fan base is talking this shit about your team.
Yeah, complain about midfield. I gotta watch McTominay at 9:30 in the morning tomorrow. That's what I gotta do.
But you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we have constant Liverpool people talking shit about this team, which is fine. As I said, no problem. If that's how you support a team, then that's how you support a team. It's fuckery in my mind.
That's not how you sometimes. It's what success sometimes brings to people. The more you have success, the more you want to like get it, and you want like the.
Do you know what it's called?
Greed, really. In a way, sometimes.
Entitlement.
Yeah, trust me, I've had that before when I was growing up because like I saw United win everything, so I was like, I want more and more and more.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because it defines what you are. It's nothing. No one can sit here and say, "Oh man, we're just happy to be second. We're just happy to be the runners up." Who the fuck is happy to be runner up? Who the fuck is happy to be second? Do you think Jurgen Klopp? Do you think Jurgen Klopp has reached the level he has reached to be happy with second, whatever? But just because you don't believe by his actions, you're doubting him because your opinion is different to his opinion on his team and on his boys. Does that make sense to you guys? I don't know.
Nah, I mean, I don't doubt Klopp at all. It's just I think some of the things he says regarding the injuries and
it's confusing.
Yeah, it is a bit confusing because I don't know if when he says we'll sign someone if there's injuries. 4 of our players have gone down since then. I don't expect the signing to come in.
But he didn't say that. So people always. So what exactly he said was we look into the market. The market is still open, and he's always spoken about if an opportunity arises or there's injuries because I'm happy with what I've got. And the reason why he said he's happy with what he got was at the time he had 8 midfielders, and 8 midfielders into 3 don't go. Obviously, since then I think he's lost 2 or 3 possibly, or Thiago and Curtis Jones. Naby's back; he's just ill.
Yeah.
But again, my question to Jurgen, if I ever got to question him, inshallah, one day I will, would be, but Jurgen, you don't play these players that you trust. Ox was fit throughout the season, yet you didn't play him. Thiago, for example, was 70% fit. He done a late fitness test in front of my very own eyes in Paris, where we thought, fuck, Thiago's not fully fit in the Champions League. You've got a Naby Keita who was fully fit. You didn't trust him enough to play him over Thiago. For example, Fabinho was rushed back in that final. So there is a question I would like to ask Jurgen Klopp. And then he'd probably slap me with the answer and I would say, yeah, man, you the boss. I mean, I just got a small YouTube channel and that's me just chatting, Jurgen. But we keep it moving still. But look, I hear your frustration. I know where you're coming from. And that is a question and a point that people will ask more and more if we flop more and more. Let's not forget, we ain't lost yet.
Yeah.
I know draws feel like a loss. Absolutely feel like a loss, especially when it's Fulham. I thought Fulham were mad. I thought Fulham were amazing today. Michael, you want to speak on Fulham?
That press was incredible. I got Marco Silva. I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game because that high press today was incredible.
Oh, I was.
Because Everton, he was kind of a flop. He had
no. You see, you don't.
I'll blame Everton though.
You ain't speak. Next time you want an opinion, holler in it.
Yeah, because Andres Pereira, even though he was terrible in the second half, because he also went to that second goal because he played a super. He was Paulinho, who, by the way, I wrote an article on him last year.
Man of the match.
I wanted him at United to be Matic's heir because I think they're very similar profile in terms
man of the match.
He was incredible. People need to wake up on him.
This is it. So listen, look, check this out.
That's cap. Nah, she was showing.
See now,
Wilshere would have get top 4 with.
I'm assuming he's a Liverpool because he said our fan base. So I'm assuming he's a Liverpool fan. We'll struggle to get top 4 with this midfield. There are too many of our fan base that wear rose-tinted glasses and need to take them off. And then there's Justin. You got to remember, we don't know who these guys support, by the way. because anyone can just make anything and just chat and ignite a chat. You know, this shit happens, innit? You know, I'm an old dog, innit? And I know tactics of YouTube chats. You know, you can ignite a chat by throwing a few trolls in there, pretending they're player, team, club XYZ fans, and then just rile up the crowd, rile up the host, and the chat starts popping. You know, I'm familiar with this kind of shit, innit? So I don't even know. Top 4 with that midfield will be a struggle. My brother's saying here. My brother's saying top 4 will be a struggle, you know. As a United fan, how does that read to you?
If it's a struggle for Liverpool to make top 4 with that midfield, then for United to struggle to make top 10 with that midfield, because your midfield is obviously astronomically clear of ours. So
we're comparing our midfield to, and the reason why is because we can't overcome a team that fucking gets 97 points on a regular, 95 points on a regular. And that's why we're hating and bitching like this. Think about that. This team, Man City, have they've taken the levels along with us to a level that's never been reached in the Premier League history. 100 points, 97 points, 96 points, 95 points. By the way, they still haven't won the Champions League. And yet we are here reaching Champions League finals that this mega team can't reach. Okay, we've only won one of them, but hey, motherfuckers, we've reached 3. Or is it 4 now? 3.
Yeah, 3. Well, 4 with the Europa League Cup.
Yeah.
4 European Cup finals.
And we're going blow for blow with this team. Yet now, just because you're not happy, you two brothers that I called out, not you guys on my show, but you two guys that want to speak shit, and you're saying that we can't reach top 4 now because you want a midfielder. That's the thing that makes me switch and then think, okay, maybe if there's a top red gang, let me join that shit.
I'm the same sometimes with United.
You get the extreme.
I'm the same sometimes with United. Because I'm in the same boat right now because I'm finding it like a little difficult. Because like I'm frustrated with our summer, obviously, as every United fan should be. But
yeah, you should be though.
But and then there's United fans
saying
that
there's reason to be angry, toxic, fuming.
But then there's United fans saying that there's no hope of optimism this year. When I'm like, we have a new manager though, so like there's a hope. There's a glimpse of hope in somewhere far down. There's a glimpse. Small.
Where have I disrupted your opinion, Paul? I even brought your opinion to my screen. Do you know what that means? I gave you a platform to have your opinion, to share your opinion. I didn't block your ass, but your opinion can be shit. I can shit on your opinion like you've shitting on Klopp's opinion or my team. You calling your club since 70s, I can say the same. So how dare you question my club's credentials to reach top 4? I could return on you after what you've seen for the last 3-4 years. Of course you're allowed an opinion, my friend. That's why I've even highlighted your opinion and brought it up. I could have just let it dilute in the chat. There's over 300 people in here. I could have just let your opinion dilute. But I gave you an opinion and I can call it shit. Like, if you think our team is struggling to reach top 4, I think that's shit. But you're allowed to. You can speak shit on your team if you want. That's not a problem. It's not a problem. Is there anything else that you want to speak on, guys? Because the longer this show goes, as you know, the longer, the more passionate I get. But it's good to be passionate. I just want to say,
right? I got that PSG score right that I told you about.
Yeah, I was playing with you, man. I was playing with you. Come on, man.
I want to see. I know. Obviously, no, there were no way.
PSG, what was it? Claremont they were playing.
But now with Neymar, that performance, because I was watching that Chelsea game earlier, which put me to sleep almost. To go from 100%. That to PSG was incredible.
100%. Akash says it's not complaining or entitlement. It's just that we don't want our standards to regress back. We only want LFC to win titles. Toxic positivity is very bad to have. No point of being a yes man. So
times I've heard that word this summer. It's crazy.
So
very popular word this summer. Toxic positivity.
Yeah. It's just a made up word on social media again. Who's a yes man? Who do you think, guys, is because obviously we'll come back with to explain it in case I've misread or misunderstood. Help me out here. Who is he calling a yes man? Do you think he's calling me a yes man, or top Reds a yes man, whoever top Reds are, or Jurgen Klopp a yes man? What do you think?
Three. I think he's doing it to all three.
So Jurgen Klopp is a yes man for what? For who do you guys think? I don't know. Help me through this. Maybe I'm being harsh.
I got you right now, because this is basically a United fan comment right here with like the LUHG, which is one of the most toxic communities on Twitter. So basically, the yes man for Klopp would be that he's not calling out his board to make more signings for him. That's when they call a manager a yes man. So basically, like Ten Hag is being a yes man because he hasn't say get me De Jong now, no matter what, all that kind of stuff. And then top Reds are yes men when they don't call out their board at all. And then for you, I guess because you said trusting Klopp because he's proven that he should be trusted in a way. Probably, I think that's the way I read it.
Okay, fair enough. Hussein, what do you think about this comment? Who's a yes man? What's toxic positivity is very bad to have. I don't know what he means by that. Bad for what? Bad for you, or bad for me, or bad for who? Like, you're not speaking for me.
I'm not sure. You'll have to.
Yeah, you have to elaborate, bro. This is just one of those comments, like you just put it out there, like it's not complaining or entitlement.
Does he mean Klopp?
Well, the very fact that you've said this is a complaint. You've complained that toxic positivity is very bad to have. So you've complained. That's hypocrisy. No point of being a yes man. That's a complaint. That's entitlement. You've just contradicted the point that you're trying to make. Like, who's a yes man? If I'm a yes man, okay, if he's throwing that shade at me, who am I a yes man to? What am I a yes man to? Like, am I getting paid by FSG, or I don't get it. A yes man to what? To the positive side of my club that I support and that I've seen give me the best years of my life? Am I a yes man to that support and belief? Then I'm a yes man. A yes man to a man who's taken over my club and in 5-6 years has turned around the fortunes of my club. Otherwise, Man United and Chelsea were shitting on me year and year and year and year and year and year out. If I'm a believer, I'm a yes man to him. Yeah, I'm a yes man. I don't know what else yes man to who. What is Jurgen Klopp the greatest, most powerful man? One of the most powerful men in world football. And you know what? How he is? Because every time he talks about something, the rules and regulations change 6 months to a year later. That's how much people listen to this fucking man. Is this man a yes man to people that he's not forced to sign a contract with? 3 contracts this guy signed with the owners. Does a yes man sign up with people that he don't agree with? I don't know who this is aimed at. No point of being a yes man. We only want to LFC to win titles. Who the fuck doesn't? Hussein, don't you want Liverpool to win?
Oh, of course.
So how does that make sense? How do we demand? What gives us the right to demand things? Of what? Of who? Who are we demanding of? We're demanding success of our team that we support. Am I right, guys?
Well,
we have a right as fans to demand. Come on, demand or support, or okay, I say support. Certain mans want to call it demand. Yeah, me as an old school fan, I don't think we're entitled to demand anything. We're entitled to support. Our role is to support, not demand. You demand shit of your kids, man. You know what I mean? You demand shit of your people that you pay as your employees. So if Akash, you work for me, I would demand a certain level that I will pay you for and expect of you, and I will let you know beforehand. So let's say you work for me, Akash, I would demand you to come on time. Otherwise you lose your job. But supporting a football club, being a fan, it's not about demanding, my brother. It's not about demanding. It's about supporting. And that's why demanding, that's where entitlement comes in. That's why I brought in the entitlement shout. Because when you demand, you're entitled. You think you're entitled to demand success, demand a signing, demand a player being selected. that's not how it works in my opinion. But everyone, each to their own. Appreciate the super chat. Still, guys, anything else that you want to speak on, man?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Ella Lad is trying to explain what toxic positivity is. Hussein, I'm going to let you read this and help me because I'm struggling.
What is he saying? Toxic positivity is the blind leading the blind. It's a level of is that delusion?
Yeah, he probably means delusion, but he's disillusioned.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think he means people just being positive for the sake of being positive. But I mean, we've called out, we've said we need a midfielder. I think most Liverpool fans have said that, I don't think we're just being positive for the sake of being positive. But no, I think, yeah, obviously after a draw, you get fans that get maybe emotional, but I think we'll be fine. I think you always get people that go one way, the other way, or, too negative or too positive. I think I don't get too happy after a win, or I don't get too down after a loss. I think that's how we should pretty much be, really.
Mm-hmm. Any idea what lead toxic? What was it? Toxic fans lead. It's hold on. Let me bring it up. Oh man, I can't remember now what it was. This is it. Any thoughts on what this means, Michael, and what the brother's trying to say?
I think I have no idea. I don't know.
Toxic positivity is the blind leading the blind. It's a level of delusion, I think he means. Or disillusion. I don't even know if disillusion is a word. My English isn't great.
It is a word, but...
Okay.
I think it means delusion.
I think it means delusion. Yeah.
So
I hate that word, toxic positivity, because it's dumb. You should be allowed to be positive about your club. You should be allowed to be negative. It's all part of having an opinion, which we all have the right to. But calling out certain people for always having the same opinion, because what's wrong with being positive about your? There's no point of supporting.
Okay, we're getting some. Okay, we're getting some explanations. We're getting some explanations. So this is what I like to see. Oh, come on, let's just move on. It's obvious what these comments mean. If they were obvious, we would have moved on. So it's not obvious, Mutasar. Secondly, I move on when I want to move on my channel, not you. If you don't like it, log off, dislike the channel, unsubscribe, keep it moving. So it's not obvious. Here we go. We're getting some. He means agreeing with everything. He can't be meaning that, because I certainly haven't agreed with everything. I don't think Hussein has. I don't think Michael has. We haven't agreed with everything. In fact, we've disagreed with loads of things about the team, whatever. Here we go. Travorelli says toxic positivity equals just being happy with no clear critical thought process. Yes, sort of a delusion. We've just given you a clear critical thought process where we said we can disagree with the owner or the fan or the manager or in a certain opinion. So I don't know. I don't know what it means. But listen, it's been great, man. It's been good chatting to you guys. As I said, you got to always be careful. People throwing comments like that with Liverpool pictures and then just trying to rile up the fan base and chat shit. But if you believe that, you can believe that as well. Someone's just Googled toxic positivity. This is what I love about people. Toxic positive, thank you, Jay. Toxic positivity or sometimes positive toxicity is a dysfunctional approach to emotional management that happens when people do not fully acknowledge negative emotions, particularly anger. Promo, I'm very calm. I'm sitting here chatting to you lot on a Saturday night. I don't let the comments get to me. I just like addressing. There's a difference between letting it get to you and addressing situation. If it was getting to me, I would turn off the stream and go and have some lamb biryani that's made with the most freshest yogurt ever. So I'm very calm, bro. If people chat shit, I will chat shit back to them. If people speak nice, I will speak nice to them. If people speak respectfully, I'm bend over backwards respectfully. Not in the literal sense, you know what I mean? From a respect of it. That's how it is, man. Guys, It's been a pleasure speaking to you guys. I've got one more caller that I need to bring on because only 10 minutes left for the show. It's been wonderful speaking to you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, Michael. Well, I don't know. Have a good day, Michael, for you, and have a good
it's
night.
6 o'clock, so basically almost night time. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock in the US now. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh yeah. Of course, it's 11 o'clock UK time. Michael, I wish you all the bad luck in the season, but on a personal level, I wish you all the best, my brother.
Thank
Take
you
care.
too, man.
Hussein, look after yourself, my friend. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all. You guys take care of yourself. We chat soon. All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye. People, man. Yeah, now I'm hungry. Yeah. I'm hungry for more chat, to be honest with you, but I'm going to wrap this up in 10 minutes, and I'm just going to bring in Jamie Phillips, who's been waiting. Guys in the studio, no more time out, guys. It's going to be 3 hours. That's my cutoff point. Last caller. I'm so sorry. Won't be able to get you on today. Yeah, I'm going to speak my mind. If I'm not going to speak my mind on my channel, where am I going to speak my mind? These people come in and think they're going to come in. Look, it's calling other people's opinion shit because they don't agree with you is a disgrace. It's not. How is it a disgrace? How is it a disgrace? Explain to me. Isn't that my opinion? Why are you offended with my opinion on someone's opinion? If someone, in my opinion, has a shit opinion, I'll call it. It's not a disgrace. So you don't like it. Standard master. What kind of standards is that? People, man. Yeah, it's been a brilliant show, man. It's been a brilliant show. I don't even know. Mods, how many likes are we on? It's been a fantastic show today. I really enjoyed it. So many different opinions. So many different, like, people, voices of reason. You know what I mean? Some angry, some frustrated. It's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it today. I'm going to bring in Jamie in the studio. Jamie, my friend, how are you?
Hi, mate. How are you? You're looking well, mate. You're looking well.
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. I don't know about looking well. I don't know about feeling well, but it is what it is, man. Thank you so much, man, for being patient. It's been a mega show today. No, mate, you don't need to thank me. It's a pleasure always speaking with you. Zuberi was in the chat and says, for the record, you call me out and it wasn't disgraceful. Exactly, my bro. Me and Zuberi disagreed totally, but it was mad. It was beautiful because he was respectful and I was respectful back to him.
You mean two grown-ups had a conversation about
we had a grown-up conversation and we loved it. Yeah, exactly. He said this, I said no, I disagree with you, and we discussed it for about 20 minutes and it was beautiful.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with disagreeing? I don't get it. Look, today, I watched the game. I weren't actually well enough as earlier on to do a watch on. I was meant to do a watch on my show. I just weren't well enough and shit happened. That I don't think God wanted me to do a watch along today. So it didn't happen. So yeah, the best thing I did today.
I was gonna say maybe it's a blessing in disguise that you didn't do a watch on.
I mean, the best thing I did today, because you know, you can be reactionary as a fan, can't you? We all know that. You can be very reactionary. So the best thing I did today, I watched the game and then I had a 4-hour nap. That was the best thing I did. Then I did my show. I literally just finished my show just not long ago.
Okay.
And you know, on there, and we come to, it's very easy to go one way, ain't it? It's very easy to go down the negative corridor and stay in that corridor and never get out of it. It's very easy to do. But then you can look at a game of football and look at it like two sides of a coin. There's always a positive in a game and there's always negatives, no matter what the game is you're playing. Today was a negative performance. Yes, we lacked intensity, which is something you don't usually see from a Liverpool side. You know, a Liverpool side is always usually showing intensity. Today, Fulham showed that. They was aggressive. And we couldn't match them for that. You look at the stats, we matched them for stats, but you didn't match them for the bit that matters in football is intensity and hunger and desire. You know, and Fulham had that today. And Fulham deserved everything they got. Fulham should have won. We shouldn't even have a point on the board. Let's be fair about it. Fulham should have won that game. But was there positives in the game today from a Liverpool point of view? I think there was. I think Darwin Núñez is a massive positive. I think what Darwin Núñez gives us in that forward line is something we haven't seen for a long time, and he occupies centre backs. Because he occupies centre backs, you see the freedom Mo Salah has, and what I love about that as well, there seems to be a link up between Núñez and Mo already. I'm seeing it already. Mo's looking for Darwin as much as he can. He's trying to feed off him. He's trying to play 1-2s off him. They both scored today by helping each other. I thought it was fantastic play between the two of them. Harvey Elliott. I thought Harvey Elliott's performance was fantastic when he came on today. He had some nice little touches. He got into pockets on that midfield that Reed couldn't pick him up on. Like Reed was picking up Hendo a lot in that number 8 position today. But as soon as Harvey went in that position, Reed couldn't really pick him up. And I thought that was a really good play by such a young boy as well. And he looks like he's going to have a bright future for this football club. There's one thing I want to talk on, if that's all right. Mm-hmm. Henderson. Now, for some reason, our captain is the main source of everyone's anger, no matter when the game's being played. Was Hendo great today? No, not by any shadow of imagination. Not at all. But I have a little problem with another midfielder in our team, Flacco. Now, I love Fabinho as much as any other Liverpool player. And this ain't a knock on Fabinho as a technical footballer. But I think we have a little bit of problem with his mobility in games sometimes. And I look at, I'm not being reactionary to this as well. I spoke about this last season on my channel a lot as well. You can run past Fabinho at sometimes quite easily. His mobility is lacking a little bit. But that is a thing for our whole midfield as well. And sometimes I do, and this ain't a knock on Fabinho the footballer. Fabinho the footballer is quality. There's no doubt about it. But mobility sometimes can be a little bit of an issue for Fabinho. Now, with the way our midfield is, Klopp likes our midfield to be that engine room in the thing, right? People talk about creativity. We ain't got creativity in our midfield. I think Klopp sees creativity different to how we see creativity. I think Klopp sees creativity in our midfielders, winning the ball back very quickly, winning the second balls and getting it and passing it straight to our forward players, or getting it wide to Trent and Robbo that can attack and get the ball into dangerous areas. I think Klopp sees that as creativity. So we are always going to play like this in our midfield. But sometimes when you play like that, you can leave Fabinho a bit stranded on his own sometimes. And because of that, he hasn't got the mobility to chase down balls. Now, when you're playing a Hendo and a Thiago with Fabinho, sometimes when you play against teams that have got a bit more hunger and intensity into their game and a bit more mobile in their midfield, Fabinho can be a bit caught out. So when we always go after Hendo, I think it's disgusting in a way. I don't understand fans that go straight after players and call them dead players, they're finished and all that. I don't mind people's opinions, but have some, Hendo's still that player that in the Klopp era has brought us all this success. So I don't class him as a dead footballer. I think he can still offer us stuff. I think Hendo looks more comfortable in the number 6, I've got to say. When he went there today when Fabinho came off, our midfield got a little bit better because he is a little bit more mobile than what Fabinho is, but he's not as good as the job as Fabinho is. But in certain areas, you just need that. And when he played there, he looked good. Obviously, he had the shot at the end of the game at the post. I mean, that goes in. What are people saying? Thiago, look, he never got into the game today because Fulham never let him. Big up Fulham. What can we say? Obviously, got the injury. It is what it is. We have to move on. We do need midfielders. I don't know if there's a Liverpool fan out there who don't disagree with that. But what can we do? I'm not an owner of the club. Grizz is not an owner of the club. We don't manage the football club. We're just fans of YouTube channels that have opinions. There's not a lot we can do about it. If the boss says, I'm happy with what I got, he's happy with what he's got. There's not a lot we can do.
Yeah, look, I agree with you in pretty much everything that you said. So you started off by saying about the Henderson situation. I thought Henderson was awful today.
Yeah, totally.
I gave his first half 2 out of 10.
Yep.
I gave his second half 5/6 out of 10. So overall, I gave him about 3 to 4 out of 10 on my player ratings.
I agree.
Right? I thought Fabinho was the worst player on the pitch.
Yep.
And it seems like Klopp agreed because he substituted him, not Henderson, and put Henderson in that role. That doesn't mean me and Klopp are right. That's just the way me and Klopp saw the game. So sorry, I'm mixing it with Klopp, and you've just got an agenda. Not you, but people that saying Henderson was the worst player. It is what it is, mate. But look, jokes aside, I agree with the mobility, not only of Fabinho, Jamie. I think the mobility of all our midfielders, is an issue, is a problem. I think Harvey Elliott is young, he's sprightly. Curtis Jones is quite mobile, but obviously has other aspects that are lacking in his game. Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, Naby, I think they all have, what's the word? Lack of mobility, maybe, or they're not the most mobile. I think.
I think Curtis is a weird one. Do you know what? We could have actually done with Curtis in our midfield today because he would have held the ball.
Possibly.
It's a bit of a weird one.
Now, Fabinho, I was going to say about your Fabinho points, I was nodding away. Fabinho is not scrutinized nearly as enough as other players. I've called it out. Now, that doesn't mean I've got an agenda against Henderson.
No.
Against Fabinho. It doesn't mean I don't think he's top 3 to top 5 DMs in Europe.
No.
Because to be top 5 DMs in Europe, you've got to be fucking good. But doesn't mean you haven't got flaws in your game. I always say about Fabinho, he's either a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 or a fucking 2 out of 10.
Yeah,
there's no in between with him.
No.
And today, he was a 2 out of 10. He was awful from the get-go. Henderson, and I've said it again and again and again, people think I'm a fucking Henderson fanboy or whatever you call it these days, or, you know what I mean, he pays me or whatever bullshit, whatever people want to come out with, whatever. I'm not interested in that. But I've said it again. I've said it today and I've said it again and again and again. Henderson, in my opinion, shouldn't be a first-choice starter as an 8.
No,
I've said that.
Agree. Yep.
You're agreeing. Majority of people agree.
Yeah.
Except even Jurgen Klopp doesn't play him all the time. How many times has Naby played there? Elliott plays there.
I think Harvey will rotate a lot with Hendo in that position this season. I really do.
But the point being is, as you said, we can only give our opinion and call on it and what we think. But there's no harm in supporting, though, Jamie.
No,
this is my rant of the day.
Exactly.
No, is there a harm in supporting? If you're going through a rough time, right?
Yeah.
If you're going through a rough time and your sister, brother, someone don't like you, don't believe in you anymore, don't trust you, but through your rough time, they're still supporting you.
Yeah. Exactly.
You'll love them for that, won't you? There's nothing wrong. There's any harm in that.
There's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. This is what. Look, I've always.
Are they bad for that? For supporting you?
I don't think so.
Are they toxic for supporting you?
The old toxic bit. No. I mean, I don't get it. Look, at the end of the day, today weren't a great game. We should have lost. We got the draw, which shows some.
We were trash today.
We're still very hard to beat. And we still came back and got the point. Look,
we're very hard to beat. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, we are. We're fucking what? We only lose.
I don't know if we'll play that bad again. I don't know if we played that bad again all season. I really don't.
Agree.
That was absolute shocking, and we still got the point. So there is some positives in a negative game. That's what I'm saying. And Grizz, would it shock you if we went on a 10 winning streak after that game? It wouldn't shock me either.
Why not though, Jamie? You know why? Because we've done it so many times.
Exactly. It's been proven. So look.
So we're not making it up. Oh, fucking here we go. Pair of top reds on a YouTube channel. Fucking even after a 2-2 draw with Fulham, because this bit could have easily get clipped up. Just this bit.
Yeah.
So they'll forget everything we've cussed and talked about the negative side of like our midfield lacks mobility at times. All of the midfielders got flaws, whatever. They'll forget all that, but they'll say, "Oh, fucking hell! I tuned in right to Grizz's channel, and there's Jamie Phillips and Grizz talking about how we're going to go on a 10 winning game run." That's what they'll say.
Yeah. But The problem is it's been proven that we've done that many times. When we had our worst season under Klopp, probably with all the injuries, we couldn't defend our title because of the injuries. The last 10 games of that season, we got Champions League football because we won 8 out of 10 games and drew the other 2. So even at our complete worst, we went on amazing winning runs. That's why I'm not shocked that.
I'm shocked, Jamie. I'm shocked at today's performance.
Yeah, totally.
I hated today's performance. I'm frustrated by today's performance. I thought senior members like Thiago, Fabinho, Henderson, Virgil van Dijk. Look at the names we're fucking reading off here. They were all poor.
Virgil was a shock today. It's the first ever time I've seen Virgil actually wound up a bit.
But Jamie, check this out. Are we suddenly saying that all those players that I've mentioned are shit and should be sold?
They're finished. Yeah, Grizz, if you go on Twitter, they're finished, mate. You know.
But you get my point. Like, okay,
yeah, exactly.
one of them. Okay, if one of them was bad, you can pinpoint one.
Yeah.
But if all of them are bad, just
either
there's something wrong with the team, and that we're on our way down, and that could be the case. Look, me and you don't know the future.
No, of course.
We could easily go down. We could easily fuck up this season, right? And say, you know what, we're going to end up out of the top 4, or even third of disaster, fourth disaster, third of disaster, right? That could happen.
Yeah.
And then we've got every right to be called deluded because why didn't you see this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you top Red see the fucking issues and problems when people were calling it out? The reason why I can't see it is because of what you just said. That we've had setbacks and then we go on and win 10 fucking games in a row.
Yeah, I never under.
That's my point. So we can only go by what our team's been showing us last 2-3 years.
Mm.
And it's been showing us fucking great stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got no evidence or proof to say, we're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's the first game of the season. We have got the longest season. It's a 10-month season. You get the World Cup splitting it into almost 2 seasons. It's going to be a long season. Look, City have got a difficult game tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, they got away to West Ham. It's not an easy game. They don't get maximum
listen,
points.
even if they win next week, tomorrow, even if they win tomorrow, they lost their first game of the season to Spurs. Do you remember?
Yeah, and they won the league. It's just not. But then people will say, but they're elite midfield and all that. Look, I think this midfield thing. Look, there's not a Liverpool fan alive who doesn't think this midfield is not the best. It's not. We know it isn't. But at the same time, the midfield last year almost took us to 4 out of 4. You know, winning everything, and came this close. You know, a whisker away from winning everything. So from that to now, it's not like it's completely dead. Does it need a bit of life into it? Maybe. Yeah, of course it does. You always need to improve. Nothing's perfect.
Always. That's another line. That's a cheap line that's thrown out there. Some people are not happy don't want to improve. Fuck off, man. Go and improve your own life first.
You want improvement
before you're looking at others.
Yeah, exactly.
You want perfection in you want perfection in a football team that you're supposed to support, yet you're not perfect in your own life. First, always look at yourself and try to better yourself and have those same standards for your personal life.
Yeah. And
before you start preaching perfection for everything else that you can't control.
Yeah.
Do what you can control first, which is yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Elliot says, guys, Naby's agility would have helped today big time.
Yeah. Naby's a great presser without the ball. He's probably our best midfielder at pressing without the ball. He's very, very good at it. Naby weren't actually that injured last season either. Is that Klopp?
He wasn't injured today. He just got a cold.
He's just ill, ain't he? He's got a virus, so he's not well. But Naby would have been good today. Look, it's just one of them games.
I like your shout out Curtis. I think Curtis might have been good today. You're all right. More thinking about it.
The ball and run into them positions. Look, he plays off that left hand side quite well. He gets into nice positions. He would have held on to the ball. Because he held on to the ball, it would have helped Diaz and Robbo get into maybe better positions on the pitch. That's maybe what we needed at times today.
I don't know, Jamie. I think today was.
It's just one of the days.
A really bad day at the office. I thought they wanted it more, which is quite sad to say because I've never said that about a Klopp team. The only other time I said that was at Brentford away.
Klopp said it himself. Klopp said it himself.
Oh, did he say it himself?
Yeah, they wanted it more. He said that. He's praised Fulham to the hilt today.
Yeah, rightly so.
We've got to praise them. I don't know if Fulham will play that well again all season. That was
possibly not.
That was a world-class performance by them. We've got to give them their due. But we didn't lose. We got the point. We just got to wipe our mouths and move on. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't surprise me. I'll be worried if I was Crystal Palace next Monday. I really would, because it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool go. We always sort of right wrongs. We always like a team that, like, you know, you talk dirt on us and we're going to show you. And
we always right wrongs. And Jamie, the reason why we're feeling like this, and sometimes we don't know how to react to this, is because it's such a fucking rarity. If we were used to this, we'd know what we're still talking about and saying. We're just not used to that kind of performance. It was shit.
Oh, can you just highlight that comment a minute, Grizz?
Which one?
Don at the bottom there didn't praise Fulham, blamed the grass.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, that one there. Right. So what are you saying about the grass? They didn't blame the grass for why we lost. He said it was just a really dry pitch, and it affected the way we had the tempo of our passing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't blaming it as such as why we lost. And he did praise Fulham. He said Fulham played really well and deserved everything he got. And he said today felt like a loss. So, you know, snippets in like things with Klopp's interviews, everyone takes little tiny snippets out of it, don't they? And then just go to the hill with little snippets. It's like the injury thing. When Klopp mentioned midfield injuries, what he was meaning by it is a Van Dijk type injury where they're out for a whole season. That's what he was meaning by it from what I took it as. Because he knows our midfielders get injuries. So I think he meant like a season-long injury would be a problem. That's why we'd have to bring someone in. But with a 3 to 4 week injury, he ain't going to bring someone in because someone's injured for 4 weeks. That's just not the way Klopp is. We've had him how long at the club now? Surely we know how Klopp.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think, look, I'm not sure we know how Klopp works. Some of us don't.
No,
and some of us are fighting. We want all the success and the good points of Klopp, but we want to change where he doesn't agree with us or we don't agree with him.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work, Jamie.
No.
So we want all the good things from Klopp. Oh, Klopp's a genius. We love Klopp. We want everything. And then if he doesn't agree with what we think, do you know what? He needs to change that. Otherwise, he's a fuck. Yeah. We're going to call him stubborn on the next show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'm going to tweet something about Klopp here. He's pissing me off. But I want Klopp to work his magic in everything else he does. And, he's amazing at man management. And the way he's turned the club around. But I don't like him being a loser. I hate Klopp. He doesn't want to be a winner.
Oh, he does want to be a winner.
I hate Klopp. He doesn't see Henderson's finished. I think Henderson's finished. Why doesn't Klopp see it? Fuck it, I'm calling him out.
Yeah, well, that's mad, ain't it? It's like I don't think Endo's finished.
No, but even if he is,
even if he is, but Klopp still picks it. It's like he's the manager.
So email Klopp, email the club, right? Do everything you can. Go out and protest, make banners.
Yeah.
But don't try to. Okay, try. But you're not going to succeed in making others think the same. Because that's not how world works, does it, Jamie? I can't suddenly force you to become... scrap your YouTube channel and join mine, Jamie.
Yeah. I know, yeah. You know, I agree. It's
he's got to think like us. Otherwise, he's a waste man. He's a loser. Klopp out.
Am I the only one, though, who thinks he thinks more like us than any other manager in the Premier League?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know what. Do you know what? It is what it is, man. I guess it's always been like this, but because of social media, where you can express your opinion on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
it's YouTube, more.
What it is highlighted more, so people can say what they want, how they want, whenever they want, have any kind of opinion and think it's relevant. Just like we think our opinion is relevant, it's not. My opinion is totally irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
It's like,
absolutely irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just my hobby. It's just my thing. I love giving my opinion, and God has blessed me with a small platform, and I speak on it. Don't take it to heart.
No, exactly. We're just expressing ourselves. If you
whatever I say is not gospel.
No, exactly. It's just like this midfield thing, though. Before I leave, Look, I've seen one of the best Liverpool midfields under Rafa Benitez with Xabi Alonso, Steven Gerrard, Mascherano, and Sissoko not win anything. You know, that is one of the best midfields I've seen. A tremendous team. Didn't win anything. I've seen a midfield that everyone calls dead win every single trophy there is to win. So, you know what? I don't know what to think anymore. I really don't. It's just, it's a crazy world we live in. Look, as I said, Liverpool wouldn't surprise me. From next Monday, they go on a 10-winning streak. Players start to come back into fitness. And
Jamie, this is the same fella earlier in the chat. If people remember, Paul Smith is the same fella earlier on who was saying, I've been a supporter of Liverpool since the 70s. I can say what I want about the club, blah, 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 blah. You know, he's been slagging off the club and he claims to be a Liverpool fan. Now he's just said this. Klopp needs to shut the fuck up and make excuses. Do my fucking head in. So this is the and this is the guy that said I shouldn't shit on his opinions.
Yeah.
But he can say that.
Yeah. It's just.
Do you get my point?
Yeah. Look, you never.
They don't see the hypocrisy in their own what they're saying.
Yeah, so it's the
Klopp needs to shut the fuck up. He's making excuses. Do my head in. He hasn't even probably heard the whole transcript or seen the whole press conference. Yet, how dare you criticize my opinion? He called me out earlier on. It makes no sense, innit? It makes no sense, innit?
No, it don't. It don't. Like I said it on my show earlier. Look, my opinion's my opinion, and your opinion's your opinion to people in the chat. And like, I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me.
But there's a level of respect, isn't it?
Yeah, just be respectful and have and just have your own opinion. Because at the end of the day, the game of football is such a beautiful sport because you and me, Grizz, could sit in a room, watch a game of football, and have two different views on what we just watched.
Not even two, however many people are watching, everyone's gonna have their own perception.
And that's why the sport is so beautiful. So that's why I let people have their opinions. I only ever say on my channel, like, have your opinion, just be respectful about it, and we move on. You know what I mean? It's a simple thing to do. But
absolutely,
people try to get a bit too aggressive at times, and it doesn't
it's fine. I know, and I'm equally to blame. Sometimes I get aggressive, but I only get aggressive with aggressive.
It's a passionate sport, ain't it?
Yeah, exactly. I can be soft. I can be nice. People know that. I'm nice to nice people. I'm angry with angry people. I'm easy with easy people. People coming into the studio. I really finishing now. You're too late. I'm closing up now, Joshua. I'm so sorry.
It's been on forever.
3-hour job for me. This is a
Lambrioni, did you say?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah,
oh my
god! Into that, my man. Go and tuck into that. Enjoy.
I can smell it already. But
I've got a pot noodle downstairs waiting. My name on it.
Yeah, well, each to their own, man. Grab it, man. Grab it, man. Do what you got to do, man. Exactly, Jamie, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a wonderful chance as always, man.
My friend, always a pleasure.
Nice one. Look after yourself. Take care,
you, my man. I'll see you later on.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Peace out, mate. Peace out.
Guys, that is another huge, mega call-in show. We obviously ended up playing Liverpool. We of course, let me start again. We of course started talking about Liverpool a lot. We weren't meant to. It was supposed to be any other team or anything that you want to speak about. But of course, naturally, Michael, I'm cancelling the show, man. It's 3 hours. I'm so sorry. 3 hours, 20 minutes. Next time, brother. I'm so sorry. People on your way out, don't forget to like the stream. Grizz, am I going to the Palace? Yeah, I should be going, man. Pixelated Pigeon says, great show. Big up Grizz and the callers. The callers were amazing. The callers made the show today. They were absolutely brilliant. People, thank you very much, Shoaib, for the nice comments. Cheers, Grizz, me old son from Neverwhere. People like on your way out. It's been a wonderful stream. The callers have made this show. Sorry if I was a bit over passionate with some of you lot, but it's a passionate sport. It's a passionate game, and I'm passionate about my club. It is what it is. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got a huge RedFellas where we're going to be doing a full inquest, and all the big boys are in. All the main hitters, the RedFellas, are in tomorrow, 9 p.m. tomorrow. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tell your family, your friends to subscribe. Let's get this movement going, man. Great content today. I must admit, the callers were stunning. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to try and find an outro for hit to hit, and we out of here.